Am I the Asshole? Posted by You Mediocre Sorbet 4553, Friday, September 22nd, 2022, at 8:05 p.m. ET. Title: Am I the asshole for telling my GF to get rid of her creepy dummy?
My 22M girlfriend, 21F, loves horror. She told me about 3 months ago that she read Goosebumps in elementary school and it sparked a lifelong interest in horror, and that when she was a kid, all she ever wanted for birthday/Christmas was a replica of Slappy, a creepy ventriloquist dummy. I'm kind of a wimp about that stuff, and I think the dummy thing is frankly insane, but I like her enough to ignore it. Until last week, her birthday, when her mother bought her a Slappy replica. She's afraid of dummies, hence why she never got it for her as a kid. My GF was thrilled. You would have thought her mom had handed her the keys to a Tesla with the way she was acting. She was literally crying with happiness. When she saw the expensive necklace I got her, she just said, "Thank you." She's totally obsessed with the dummy. Her roommate thinks it's hilarious, and she carries it around her apartment like a teddy bear and even sleeps with it in her bed. I kind of snapped last night when I went over and she was holding the dummy when I answered the door. I told her it was creepy, and she was being weird about it, and she needed to get rid of it. I'll admit I raised my voice a little bit. My GF started crying, and her roommate told me to leave. Roommate and friends have been texting me saying I'm not supporting her and the dummy is harmless. GF herself hasn't reached out to me. So, am I the asshole?
Post by The Errorist 404, Saturday, September 24th, 2022, 1:32 a.m.
LMAO, Matt, did you seriously not think either of us would see this post? You only learned about this subreddit because V showed you some of the posts here in an attempt to get you to engage in any of her interests. Makes sense that you only care about it when it could benefit you. IDK whether this is some passive-aggressive power move to get V to text you back, or if you're just that desperate for someone to agree with you, but either way, I don't think it's working out like you hoped. Certainly works well for me, since now I don't have to worry about biting my tongue for her sake. Of course she was excited. It's something that she wanted for years, and the fact that it came from her mom also made it special, since she hates the thing. And you can act all wounded about her not being as thrilled about the necklace, but we both know that you're intentionally leaving out the fact that V fucking told you previously that she doesn't like wearing jewelry, she doesn't like how a lot of it looks, she has sensory problems with it, and no one asked you to spend $1,000 on a necklace that looks like the Amazon logo for a girl you've been with for greater than 6 months, dude. To be honest, it was just kind of weird. Kind of? A little bit? You blew up. The people from across the way came to check in on us after you left because of you yelling. Rather than talking to your girlfriend, expressing your reservations like a normal person, you bottled it up and then let it out on her with no warning. I know for sure that V is done with you, but I honestly, for the sake of your future relationships, I hope that you grow the fuck up and learn to communicate without alerting anyone in the building of your issues. Also, get better taste. Goosebumps is awesome. You're the asshole. Edit, we're having fun watching Goosebumps with Slappy.
So, who all has experience? Did you guys see this post when it was going around like a month ago?
I did not know.
I did, yes.
I remember this, yeah.
Oh man, the unanimous declaration that this guy was an asshole and that Goosebumps is fucking awesome it was such a nice, like, wonderful thing that happened. I was so happy. Oh man. Well, I think I can speak for all of us.
Get fucked.
Hey Matt. Get fucked, buddy. Matt. Fuck you. Eat shit, Matt.
Eat shit.
Slappy has powers.
I'm glad I'm not dating Matt.
Aren't we all, I think?
Hey everybody, welcome to a very special Halloween episode of You Can't Scare Me. Guess what? Hey Mario, guess what?
What's that, Bob?
You're always here.
That's right.
I'm always here.
Yep.
We've got a couple people who aren't always here. In fact, it's their first time being here.
What?
Everybody say hello, even though we can't hear you, to Chip and Ironicus.
Hi, everybody. I'm one of those people.
I'm also one of them. You'll have to guess which one.
This is the fun game. The fun Halloween game for you listeners.
if I remember correctly, the person who spoke last is Josh. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, you don't sound so excited about it being you.
I'm used to being Chip. It's weird to just go by Josh on the internet sometimes now.
I hear you. When people call me Bob, it's like, what? I don't. All right. Okay. And then there's another person here. Their name is Grant.
Hello, everyone. It's so wonderful to come onto the show that I adore listening to.
Oh.
At
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And guess what? Grant is also on History Honeys, Sex Archie, and 6 Feet Sunder.
Yes. Those are also shows that I love listening to because then it's finished and I can post it once I'm able to listen to it.
But even more than that,
Whoa!
Chip and Grant are also doing Dogs Must Die.
That's
a
right.
recap of, I believe it's pronounced Yo-Yo.
That's right.
Only in Spanish-speaking territories,
Okay.
but yes.
Yo-Yo's Strange Journey.
Yes, a bizarre podcast, Dogs Must Die, where a little over a year ago, year and a half now, I was convinced to watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure for the express purposes of talking about it weekly with an internet audience.
A great decision.
It's worked out pretty well.
Pretty well.
I'm very chuffed that it's still happening.
That's awesome. And so go ahead, before we start with the festivities of this wonderful, this groundbreaking episode of Goosebumps that we're going to talk about, I wanted to get y'all's history on Goosebumps.
That's a great question, Bob. I was going to ask that question.
What is your Chip and Ironicus? What is your collective stance on Jovial Bob
Stein?
Well, this is, not gonna lie, the first time I've ever read a Goosebumps book my entire life.
Whoa!
What?
Yeah.
What the hell?
That's wild to me.
Oh, I hesitate to ask if you liked it or not, like already.
I mean, no, I had a fun time with it.
You got the best chapters, to be fair.
Yeah, the way we divvied up these chapters this time in this episode, oh man, I did the beginning, Mario did the middle, and then Josh and Grant did like the end, and
Where's
Mario,
things pop off in the final.
Off.
yeah, we got robbed, Mario, we got robbed.
I don't know. I got the part where where one of the most insane things happens in it. I got the most problematic part, is what I feel.
I got the fucking onion part, but we'll get to it.
Oh, I'm excited to talk about that onion. Anyway.
Josh,
Yeah.
are you going to read any more episodes of Goosebumps?
I mean,
are you going to?
I'm a little interested now because this one was crazier than I thought a children's horror book would get.
It was.
Mainly that last third, as mentioned previously. The choking surprised me.
I have to express that, like, they're not all like this.
Yeah.
No,
This is the first time.
I'm under the impression this is an iconic Goosebumps book, maybe, I think.
Iconic
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, this is a sea change in Goosebumps branding.
That's
at
true.
the very least.
That's a good point.
Absolutely.
There's like a lot of other Slappy books, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
you have no idea.
Slappy is currently headlining his own sub-brand of Goosebumps.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, it's great. Grant,
Yes.
is this your first Goosebumps book?
No. I mean, I read, I can't even imagine how many Goosebumpses I read as a youth, as a child, in my 10-year-old year. But my clearest Goosebumps memory is one time there was like a special like pack available in the
Book fair?
Scholastic book catalog.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
So it wasn't just like the monthly book, but like a poster and a extra thing. And the thing that I remember is it had a little electronic keychain that you push the button and it made this horrible like noise.
Yeah.
And so I got it, and then it gets shipped to, you know, your elementary school classroom because that's the address they have on file for these orders, right? And so then it just sat under my desk, and the fates conspired to like poke that button all through the day, like things would just like fall or would get bumped. And by the end of it, I was absolutely mortified. I was so embarrassed by this horrible noise coming from my desk 8 times a day.
Oh man! I might go on a little editing spree and just try and find that sound.
Good luck.
Because I know the keychain you're talking about. I had it.
I don't think we talk enough about the scholastic component of Goosebumps.
Why are we selling keychains to children? We do not have keys at that age. What are we locking?
In my locker at
your
school
locker?
or something. I don't know. I didn't really have a
You can
key for
attach
that. I
it-
had a combo.
You can attach it to your Trapper Keeper.
It's true.
You can hang it from your hit clips.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's one of the great products for kids that is designed to annoy your parents.
Yeah.
It's that subcategory of products. It's just make your parents hate having children.
Yeah, I kept my my sound effects keychain inside my GAC when I was growing up. That was my whole. I used my
wait.
GAC to hold stuff. I'm not being serious. This is a joke.
Okay. it was like you keep your GAC like with you.
Yeah, I just hold it. It's very holdable. You can carry it around. You just have a handful of GAC.
But I
It's like
feel
that dude walking around with a whole armful of bees. Have you seen that?
Yes, I just saw that. Fucked up.
It's perfect.
I feel like we don't talk about the scholastic component of Goosebumps enough.
No, yeah.
On You Can't Scare Me, a Goosebumps podcast, because I was thinking about it recently because it is October, and that was the time in my life when the first round of parent-teacher conferences occurred, which also coincided with the Scholastic Book Fair, which was the perfect time to get yourself some Goosebumps merchandise. And it's like, I think that goes into like why Halloween is such a good time of year for me, because it means 1, multiple days off while other people have parent-teacher conferences, and 2, you get to buy a bunch of cool books and spy cameras.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Oh, man. I got so much good shit at a Scholastic
I
Book
learned
Fair.
how to draw manga. I mean,
Oh,
a
hell
dozen
yeah.
times
that
over,
book.
at least.
Oh, that book is so hideous. It's like, visually makes, it's so cringy. Oh, man.
You gotta get like the Klutz Guide to Magic
Yes.
Tricks that don't
Yes.
fucking
Oh,
work.
yeah. Good shit. Got to get another copy of Where the Sidewalk Ends. And then you got what was it? Animorphs?
Yeah, of
Yep.
course.
Animorphs, bro. Shit. It was Animorphs and Goosebumps. That was
My real series though.
Animorphs goes so fucking hard, guys. I can't.
Way more violent. Yeah.
I only read the Hork Bajar Chronicles.
Oh man, deep cut.
I had a cool cover at the Scholastics Book Fair.
There are actually kind of a lot of parallels between Goosebumps and Animorphs, because just like Animorphs, Goosebumps had Animorphs had the show, and so the show was cringy in many ways, just like the Goosebumps show. But anyway,
Ultra low budget Canadian productions. Yes.
oh, wonderful. I can't get enough.
I watched the premiere of that, I'm pretty sure. The premiere. I was there for Animorphs when it made television history.
Oh my god.
I was there when Animorphs.
Paolo Costanzo doesn't get enough work even to this day, and I truly, honestly believe that.
It's unfortunate. Hey, Mario.
Yeah.
I'm seeing here we've got another segment that we need to do,
Oh?
and that is a history lesson.
Well-
yours in particular.
That's right. Hey, guys. Hey, everyone.
Hey.
It's me. It's Mario, the cool ghoul who's everybody's pal. And I'm here
There's his catchphrase.
with a patented history lesson. I don't think you can patent that. I'll trademark it? Whatever.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you got it.
what was history like in the year of our Lord 1993, specifically the 2 months of April and May of that year?
I'm told it was ending.
Well, you know what? Not a lot was happening, so it was winding down.
Finite.
Yeah.
A descriptor for that.
Time is finite, and it just keeps passing. And unfortunately, not many things fill it in the months of April and May. But let's talk about the movies of then.
Yay! I love movies.
Yay! April 1993. Imagine it's spring. The grass has riz, the flowers bloom, and Cop and a Half is in theaters.
Wow, you really paint a picture. It's incredible.
You too could be watching Cop and a Half, or more seasonally appropriate, The Sandlot. I watched The Sandlot a lot as a kid, despite not giving a single shit about baseball. But maybe you also watched it. I don't know, listener. You tell me. Maybe you also watched The Sandlot repeatedly while reading your one issue of White Dwarf, looking at collections of Warhammer figures you'd never own. Maybe that's just me. Also, the Dark Half, George A. Romero's Stephen King adaptation, pretty good. If you liked Malignant in recent years, you might like The Dark Half.
I heard good things about Malignant. Is that something I should check out?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty fucking bonkers.
Okay.
It's
I like bonkers.
It's a wild movie. It goes really absolutely just hog bonkers at the end. And that was literally the only 3 movies that mattered in April of that year. But what about May? Well, I'll tell you. The Tommyknockers, a classic Stephen King adaptation from the drug years. Hot Shots Part 2.
Oh, Hot Shots. Oh my God. I just suddenly got a surge of memories coming back to me about Hot Shots. What a movie.
He fires a chicken like an arrow.
He sure does. It was the poster even for that movie, I think.
I was always confused because it was not related to the PS1 golfing game franchise, and it really bothered me that it wasn't related. Perhaps most importantly, though, here are 2 movies that did matter in history.
Oh, shit.
One is My Neighbor Totoro. That came out in May of 1993.
Haven't seen it.
Are you... huh?
Sorry.
People
Sorry.
don't talk to their neighbors these days. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
What?
You had the same reaction with that other Stephen King movie. What was it?
Creepshow?
Creepshow, yeah. I haven't seen Creepshow.
I mean, that's different. That's like a personal favorite. But like, My Neighbor Totoro is like a cultural moment. like
Yeah.
one of the biggest anime films of all time.
And that's Ghibli, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm reeling. Hold on. I'm just like spiraling out of control.
You know, the extra awful thing about that is that my brother got me the full Ghibli collection, like every single Ghibli movie, and I have them.
So much to unpack.
But this is the same brother that spoiled all of JoJo for me, so
Can you spoil
it's fun.
it?
It's fine.
It's the question.
Well, that's what his explanation was. He was like, "I'm just going to tell you the whole thing." And then, because it doesn't really matter.
It
and
doesn't.
then it like completely, and then I was just like, oh, so.
But let me get you this one. Now, this one I think we'll all agree on. We'll all agree. Super Mario Brothers the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I'm Super Mario over here.
Hey, I'm Mario, and that's Luigi Mario.
With Bob Hoskins reprising his role from Brazil to
Oh, man.
I saw that movie in theaters, and as a very young child, when they showed the dinosaurs at the very start, I shouted very loudly, "It's Jurassic Bark!" And made the whole theater laugh and embarrassed my parents.
never looked back.
Yes, that's amazing.
Yelling things about video game characters for the rest of your life.
Yep, I was about 4 years old, I think, and that's when it started, folks.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful origin story. You have to make that same
I can just
joke.
imagine you as a little baby. It's Jurassic Park.
You have to make that same joke in theater for the new Mario movie.
Yes.
And complete your life circle.
Yeah.
But you have to say it before Chris Pratt does, because you know that line's in
he'll
there.
say it.
Oh,
He'll
absolutely.
say it. Was on TV in that time, these months that we're talking about? Fuck all. Like, nothing? Did you know they made another League of Their Own TV series? Because I didn't. They did.
What?
They
What
keep
the hell?
They
Really?
keep trying. I don't know. Like,
Didn't they recently try to make another one of
yeah, they
those?
just aired one.
What the hell?
Yeah.
What is with the...
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Maybe there's a League of Their Own fan base out there. I don't know.
Yeah, it's me. I'm
Oh, okay.
that and everything else Gina Davis did between
Okay.
1988 and 1995.
I get it.
What
I
are
get
you
it.
talking about?
Well, she was not on either TV show.
yeah,
I must stress.
And why do you think they failed?
Why indeed?
I think we found the reason.
In May, Saved by the Bell, the college years aired. I think we're all excited about seeing what's they're doing in college. Those kids whose names I know. One of them is Screech.
Screech, yes.
Zach,
Screech, yes.
Miri, the porno they made, all those kids.
Oh my good lord! I just looked up Saved by the Bell, and the guy who plays Zach, his photo, it just looks like a what do they call those? A crime headshot, like
Mugshot?
what?
Mugshot.
What? Mugshot. He looks like it's. Oh my god! It's weird. He's staring into my soul. It's a mugshot of Zach.
Here's my headshot. I will be auditioning for the role of Crime today.
Crime doer. I am Crime doer.
Oh man, that's good shit.
In the world of video games, this one's brief. In April, the 7th Guest came out.
Oh,
And nothing else, according to Wikipedia, was released. That's probably not true. I bet there's like a cool spot or something in there somewhere, but evidently not. But for the best-selling games of this time of the year, April and May, Star Fox still rocking the SNES charts.
Woo!
Super Mario Land 2 still holding strong on the Game Boy. Sonic 2, the only game that I'm aware of on the Game Gear, so that's still going. And X-Men for the Genesis.
God. I remember playing Sonic on my Game Gear in school, and everybody was gathered around me, so fucking jealous, for the 20 minutes that the fucking thing was on.
Yeah, I didn't even own a Game Gear, and I remember playing Sonic 2 on a Game Gear. That's what's fucked up. I think every person alive in May of 1993 played Sonic 2 on a Game Gear.
Oh man, because you went into like a Price Club and started messing around with it, like the live demos and shit.
Or your
is
cousin
it just a
had one and had
Yeah.
Sonic 2.
God, I can't put to words how it felt to load all 6 AA batteries into the grips of that fucking giant. I love that thing so much, and then I dropped it and it broke. Anyway,
That's all that happened in history, by the way. I'm just saying.
we're all done with history.
That's it.
Well,
That was it.
Well, with that, there is one other historical thing that happened. A Goosebumps book was released
Oh,
around
shit.
this time. Do you remember that?
I forgot this.
You forgot that Goosebumps Night of the Living Dummy came out, and we have read it.
I would say it did change history.
It did. It changed Goosebumps history.
That's
definitely.
true. That's true.
Hey, Curly. Bye. You're no longer the mascot. Now it's Slappy.
Yeah, rest in peace, my skeletal friend.
R.I.P. Curly. We love you. Big ups, dog. Pouring one out.
The real ones know. The real ones know.
R.I.P. to a real one. So let's go ahead and start talking about the cover. Hey, Josh, as a person who just encountered Goosebumps for the first time ever,
Yeah.
what did you think of Tim Jacobus' cover of Night of the Living Dummy?
I mean, this is, even though I've never read any of them, I remember this cover. Like, I remember seeing this at book fairs. So, like, the whole reason why I didn't read Goosebumps was because I was a dumb kid who was, like, above it. I already chose my children's horror medium by that point, which was Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, I see.
So I had
Okay,
no
okay.
need for Goosebumps.
It's true. It's true.
I didn't like the cover though as a kid. It scared me.
It is a freaky. Could you describe it to the listener?
Yeah, so we're talking about the original one here, right?
Yeah,
The original
yeah.
1993 Tim Jacobus cover of Night of the Living Dummy.
Yeah, so this is just an illustration of Slappy the Dummy, kind of framed by bright red, ooze, blood.
Yeah, the red is upsetting. Huh?
You don't know, ketchup and mustard.
It is. It is ketchup mustard, isn't it?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. We have this red kind of oozy, bloody frame with a Goosebumps logo surrounding this kind of dark, spooky illustration of Slappy the Dummy, who is dimly lit from just one light, so his head is kind of trailing off into darkness here, with a wide open eyes, small pupils that are neon green, like piercing right through you, and he's got a big spooky grin with his mouth agape, with the text, "He walks, he stalks."
which I'll have you know, a literal, just a lie. Just a lie that Slappy does neither. So, like,
I will say, I'll just get ahead of it. I completely misremembered this book. And it is extremely funny. We'll get into it, but like, wow.
My question is, do you think that Tim Jacobus knew the twist ending in this book, or do you think he knew that Slappy the Dummy was in the first 3 chapters of this book and drew that dummy on it?
I will say that if you remember, Mario, this has happened before.
Yes.
Where Tim Jacobus is given an early copy of the book, maybe a few chapters, and then he will base it on like the initial like couple chapters, and that's kind of why the rest, like some of the covers have nothing to do. Like the infamous Say Cheese and Die cover was just like, I don't even think that. Yeah, he just kind of went off on his own and did whatever the fuck
he just made his own thing up. Yeah, it was completely. Yeah.
Yeah, he based the cover on like the name of the book, if I remember correctly. And so, R.L. Stine retrofit that scene depicted in that cover into the book as a dream sequence.
Do you think R.L. Stine retrofitted Slappy the Dummy into the book?
Oh my goodness.
Because of this cover?
Man.
Like, because I would say that this cover is like the Goosebumps cover. It's like the cover that people think about with Goosebumps a lot of the time.
I don't know. For me, it's Monster Blood or The Haunted Mask. Night of the Living Dummy is definitely up there.
But I mean, in terms of like Slappy being a marketing piece, it's the Slappy on this cover.
Oh, absolutely.
So, like,
yeah.
And it's weird to me that Slappy became a marketing thing.
Yeah.
Because he is so minor in this book.
Yeah.
Except on the cover.
And I would like to research that at some point to figure out like, okay, is it just because there are like 80 fucking Night of the Living Dummy sequels? Is that why Slappy is such a big thing? Because there is like the most. I need to research this too. I don't think there are many other books in the series that have as many parts to them as Night of the Living Dummy.
Oh no, the Living Dummy saga is by far
it's
largest.
It's the largest for sure.
Yeah, the only one that it comes close to it is maybe
Horrorland?
Monster Blood? Maybe Horrorland. Monster Blood has like 3 or 4 parts.
Horrorland has like a spin-off series, which a sub-series.
Say Cheese and Die fans getting shafted again.
Yeah, what a shame.
I can't fucking believe it. I can't believe you've done this, Jovial Bob. I can't believe you've done it.
But I think there is something to say for Slappy's design being based on the dummy as well, like the prototypical dummy.
Yes.
Which
yes.
Mr. Wood doesn't have.
No. I think you're right. I think Slappy's look is way more iconic, if you'll pardon the turn of phrase, than Mr. Woods. I mean, Mr. Woods is like Howdy Doody.
Yeah.
We'll probably get into it later, but like Slappy is Charlie McCarthy, while Mr. Wood is Mortimer Snurd.
I am going to nod my head. I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Well, I guess you invited a puppet expert. Okay.
I had no idea. Oh man, that's awesome. But before we get too ahead of things, we do have a couple variations on the cover to go through.
Yeah, we should talk about this.
Yeah, we should definitely talk about La Nuit des Pantins.
I'm going to assume that's Night of the Dummies.
The Night of the Dummies.
Which is more accurate, I guess, than... Well, they're both fair. I hate this fucking French cover. I fucking hate this cover.
Describe the French cover of Night of the Living Dummy, or The Night the Dummy.
It's half of a very worried child's face. He or she is very freaked out. There is also a dummy. The dummy is definitely Slappy because it's wearing a suit. It has very angular Roger Smith from Big O eyebrows. Man. A horrible, like, closed mouth grin. Like, it's not as threatening as the American cover. It's just like eyeing this child in a way that I really don't like.
It's got that Joker smile kind of thing going on.
Big Joker energy. Big twisted. He's so twisted.
So twisted. Oh man, he has damaged written on his forehead.
He's damaged.
Grant,
Yes.
help me out with the next cover.
With which one?
The one that is Mario. Is this what?
Which one are you looking at? The one after the French one?
The one with the pink goosebumps.
That
at
is
the top?
Japanese. It is Japanese.
That's Japanese?
The Japanese cover is trying to frighten you.
Yep.
This is an illustration of this is the first one we've talked about, one of very few, that shows Slappy in his entirety, sitting on a window bench seat in a child's bedroom between two twin beds, in front of an open window with the shutters flung open and a spooky moon backlighting him, with his head like lolling off a bit toward the viewer's left. And the shadow that is cast by the moon is not the shadow of a ventriloquist dummy, but of a grinning, laughing demon with bat wings and a pitchfork.
I love this. I love it so much. Also, Slappy looks insane in this cover.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, the Japanese covers are every fucking time they just knock it out of the park.
Like, it's not because he doesn't look evil. He looks like he is just completely lost his mind.
It's so good too because the color combo. It's like the pink perfectly works with the. There's a pink doll that has been ripped apart at the bottom, and clearly, Slappy has done this. Also, I didn't know if you guys noticed, but the pitchfork is actually inside the doll, the other doll that's been ripped apart.
Yeah.
So it's just this is so cool. Compare that to the Jacobus 1993 cover, which is basically just like it's the colors scream McDonald's to me.
Yeah.
It's like night and friggin' day. It's awesome. Who wants to do
Indonesia?
The Indonesian cover.
So the Indonesian cover is I just love unique takes, and boy is it. So in this one you see one of the dolls. I'm not sure which this is.
I also don't know who this is.
But you only see him from the nose down. The top of the head is cut off by the title treatment, all in black and white. And it's got a super oversized baggy suit, the way a ventriloquist doll might, because they don't make clothes that size. And it's just got this unhinged sort of grin. It's more of a controlled menace than some of these we've seen. But growing out of the lapels is this, I don't know, is it wisps of evil? Is it hair? What is coming out of this?
What is that?
This jacket?
It's weird.
But it sure is. And no, it's fun.
It certainly is.
It absolutely is. Can confirm it is.
This is a really modern cover. Do you know, like, this looks like a thing you would see a horror artist today on Twitter post. Like,
yeah.
Like, it's ominous. It's ominous. And then you compare it to the UK's
oh my God.
Cover, which is a dummy. Have you ever seen one? It's there.
Oh my God. It's a bad cover.
This is the child eating the beans.
Yes! That's what it was reminding me of. Yes. The child eating the beans decided to wink at you.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's like a very cherubic dummy. The thing is, it's just a dummy. It's like the most dummy you've ever seen in your life. And it's not in any way frightening.
There's a bunch of bubbles around it, like it's taking a bath or some shit. What is this even supposed to?
He's a dirty boy.
Oh, you're a dirty
Are
little
they
dummy.
bubbles, or are they? Some of them look like plant cells.
Got all up in them beans. Ooh.
I kind of thought the goo that he's in this cover may have supposed to been the stuff he throws up.
Ooh.
But it's the wrong color.
I love that. Yeah. Oh, I'd love it if that was the case. Like he projectile vomited and then winked. Just like, hey, wink,
hey.
That's my Mr. Wood impression. It's your boy, Mr. Wood. Wink.
And now the national anthem. Hooray!
I love the Korean cover because it's the only one that has Mr. Wood on it.
Yeah.
And it's definitively Mr. Wood. He is eating, which is a thing that does not happen in the book.
He tries, man.
It's cute though. It's very cute. I think it's not scary, but it is a cute cover.
Yeah, I do like the look of it.
Yeah.
And then we have the modern one, and it's book accurate Slappy, and then he's not fucking doing anything.
And then he's just in the corner. Just nothing going on.
Sir, not appearing in this book.
Alrighty. And with that, let's go ahead and get to the main event. And as I said before, I took the first third of the book. I took from chapter 1 to chapter 8. Mario took from chapter 9 to, what chapter was it?
16?
The middle of the book. And then Grant and Josh took the latter third of the book. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. Chapter 1. Lindy and Chris Powell are twin sisters who are the reason the child-free subreddit exists.
I think Jovial Bob wanted to finally stretch and write an only child and then thought better of it because these children are identical in every way through the opening portion of the book.
I got them confused so often. Like,
dude, when I was reading this, I wrote down like their names and my phone, just like, and like reread a couple paragraphs a couple times and thinking, am I this dumb that I can't comprehend which character is which in a children's book? No, it's just they are exactly the same.
It's one little girl talking to herself up until...
The POV switches between them at one point.
Yes.
And then doesn't switch back. And so it's really weird because I thought one character was the main character the whole time. And then actually, no, I guess not, they weren't. No, well, fuck me.
Mm-hmm. It is crazy to me that we are hearing Lindy's internal monologue toward the beginning, and then it switches to Chris's internal monologue
at a very specific and important point.
Yeah, probably when Jovial Bob was like, "Oh man, one of these characters is like a living fucking nightmare."
Yeah, well, they kind of both are, but like,
one way worse though.
No, yes, Bob, yes, they're way worse, way worse.
I'm just gonna put my cards on the table. My thesis here is that Night of the Living Dummy is indeed a baby book for babies. This is the sort of thing that you only read to get like free pizzas at Pizza Hut, but it's a really good one.
I agree.
Like, there is literary technique at work here that I enjoy.
Yeah, I'll give my review right up front. I actually this was pretty entertaining. Like the beginning
I enjoyed this book, yeah.
It was kind of rough, but then oh my god, the last third, holy fucking shit.
That's what I was telling you, man. Like the last third goes so fucking bonkers that it makes the rest of it better by its existence.
Oh, it's so good. And I don't know who all... I read it, and I also listened to the book on tape. Did anyone else listen to the wonderful voice acting?
She was good, I thought.
Yeah,
I thought she was actually pretty good.
I think that the father, Mr. Powell, at certain points was pretty rough. But on the whole, it was actually pretty good. And I will reference it in a few chapters. So let's keep continuing. These most likely 12-year-olds are introduced as being horrible to each other.
Yes.
Which will change to being horrible to everyone around them very soon. Chris is the twin with short hair who is generally merely annoying. A good example of this being the first words of the book where she has blown a giant bubblegum bubble and is trying to get her sister to look at it by yelling through her closed mouth.
Can I just interject quickly? Oh, yeah, okay, because I was going to say... Interesting to begin your book contextless with because I read that as someone eating something very tasty. I was wrong.
Yes, you were. Lindy is the twin with long hair who is a maliciously annoying asshole.
She's a psychopath.
She sucks.
She's a psychopath.
I hate Lindy.
As evidenced by her popping Chris's bubble, telling her she sucks at blowing bubbles, pointing out she can blow bigger bubbles, and tricking Chris into thinking she got gum in her hair.
Yep.
Chris then angrily slams closed the book Lindy was reading because she, quote, hates losing her place in the book, unquote. Chris asks their mom, Mrs. Powell, who has presumably been drinking wine all day to deal with these kids' shit, when she can have her own room to get away from Lindy's constant bullshit, prompting Mrs. Powell to say, quote, on the 12th of never.
These parents are both so checked out 100% of the time.
Yep.
Which is inferred to be the way that she always answers that question.
It's so dismissive and shitty. I was impressed by it. I was like, man, that's like, this mom's fucking done with these kids. She's over this.
I imagine her saying that while swirling a glass of wine, like a red wine, you know, just like on the 12th of never. Now fuck off.
I just like to say these are the most hostile Goosebumps parents we've had since the parent that was actually a plant monster.
Yes. Literally a plant monster. Mrs. Powell then tells the kids to fuck off outside because mommy needs to go to the supermarket, presumably to get more adult juice. She suggests the twins walk their little black terrier, whose name is Barky.
No, it fucking isn't. That's not the name of a dog. Fuck off.
That's what I said. No one's dog's name is Barky, you fucker.
That's bullshit. Which would be a decent name if it didn't imply the dog was just as or more annoying than the kids.
Yeah.
The twins decline to walk the dog because they're awful. Instead, they decide to check out the dilapidated house next door because there might be a hot dude or two in there. A squirrel is set up as watching them fuck around in the house. Remember that.
This isn't a dilapidated house. This is new construction.
Yeah. This is like, being built.
Oh, I misread that. Oh, okay. This is it's under. Okay, I thought it was like in repair.
Yeah. So it's like the exact opposite of the spooky old house down the street or a musty attic. Like we're being haunted by unfinished new construction, which is unique. It's something.
It's real suburban horror, is what this is.
See, this is why I got confused because of this literal next section. Lindy warns Chris to not step on a nail or she'll, quote, get lockjaw and die, unquote.
Yep.
Prompting Chris to say, you wish. So, yeah, because of that, I thought, oh, so it's like a fucked up, rusty nails everywhere. But I guess it would be like that if they were on construction, they're ripping up the old shit. So anyway, Lindy responds with, I don't want you to die. Just get lockjaw. Lindy continues to suck as she prompts Chris to touch an exposed electrical wire to see if it's turned on. But the kids are interrupted by the sound of small footsteps above. The squirrel from before is paid off. Hooray. Then Lindy finds her true home, a dumpster, and sifts through it. Chapter 1 ends as Chris watches Lindy retrieve what Chris thinks is a child's lifeless corpse from the dumpster because Chris is a moron.
Pause here at chapter end to just note, this is a setup. This is a setup to later events that Chris is an idiot. That Chris is like one of history's greatest idiots. Like, the most gullible child to have ever lived is this, like, anywhere, because what would possibly lead you to believe there is a dead child in this dumpster and your sister is pulling it out?
If you cannot tell a ventriloquist dummy from a dead child, you are not old enough to be taking walks on your own.
You shouldn't be doing this.
If like Chris had written this in her diary and like somehow I was reading it, I'd be like, oh, Chris needs glasses. We need to get Chris glasses like ASAP. This kid, she can't be that dumb. She just can't see.
And yet somehow she is that dumb.
And yet we will get to it. All right. Chapter 2. Chris continues to be a moron for a weirdly long amount of time, failing to realize that what Lindy has found in the dumpster is actually a ventriloquist's dummy. Lindy names the dummy Slappy for some reason.
Because it's going to slap you.
It's going to slap you.
Because she's violent to her sister.
I guess because she wants to slap Chris with it, which is fine and normal. Lindy takes to Slappy instantly, turning into a less racist Jeff Dunham in the span of a few minutes. Chris thinks Slappy is creepy, which is objectively true.
Yes.
Everyone knows the top 3 creepiest entertainers are clowns, mimes, and ventriloquists in that order. Lindy manages to entertain some local kids with Slappy as the twins head inside their house. The chapter ends with some horseshit about Slappy's eyes being lifelike or whatever.
So this book really hinges on the notion that any 12-year-old girl to have ever lived has looked at a ventriloquist dummy and said, wow, that's so cute, and I can't wait to use it. Which has never happened in the history of mankind.
Yeah, I feel like if you have a friend that age when you're a kid who is suddenly way into ventriloquist dummies, it's because you got stuck with the really weird kid.
Yeah.
Or they're related to you, you know?
Yes.
It's the only two ways.
Extreme, relative coming over to stay the night for some weird reason because the parents think that the kids will just get along just because they're kids of the same age.
Yeah.
And then, they bring over their fucking ventriloquist dummy and talk to it like until 2 a.m. in the morning.
A lot of my childhood is becoming clear right now.
Did you have a ventriloquist dummy? You can say it. It's okay.
But this is a safe space. You can.
It's fine. We don't need to. I'm pulling things up.
Okay. Chapter 3. Turns out the local kids Lindy entertained with Slappy earlier told their mom how quote unquote funny, aka thoroughly disturbing, Lindy was and requested she perform at their birthday party. Lindy can't contain her excitement.
This is just a bad idea. This is a bad idea. This is just like the worst thing you could do. Like, yes, give a 12-year-old child and her doll the stage at a party. This will go well for everyone.
She's got skills. She's got drive. She is going places.
She's had the dummy for a day.
Yeah, and she's already booking gigs. This is incredible.
Lindy can't contain her excitement at the thought of making fat stacks, and her father, Mr. Powell, is gleefully delighted by child labor. So Lindy is now a professional weirdo.
One step closer to her moving out of the house. Just one step.
Just one step. I guess everyone's just cool with Lindy yoinking this dummy from a dumpster. Has it even been clean yet? Anyway, Chris is jealous as fuck because despite Lindy not being a decent human being, she seems to be a decent ventriloquist, which is generally how it works in real life. Chris literally thinks about becoming a ventriloquist, quote, for fun and profit. And a few days later, she asks her parents if she can get a dummy too. This enrages Lindy, who tells Chris that she shouldn't be such a copycat and should instead focus on her own hobby, collecting junk jewelry, aka trash. What is with these kids and collecting people's garbage? Mrs. Powell suggests the two share Slappy, but when Chris attempts to hold the dummy, it smacks the fuck out of her. Chapter end.
So, it is noted that not only do the kids down the street love Slappy and Lindy's performance as Slappy, also every kid at school hooted and hollered.
Yes.
When Lindy performed, including the guy that Chris has a crush on.
It is true.
Which, excuse me, not okay. But this didn't happen. This did not occur, so this is just a lie that is being told.
There is a real running thing where only one time is one of Lindy's performances actually on screen.
Yep.
She could be lying about every single one of them.
Oh God. Yeah, she's secretly just terrible and everyone's just booing her constantly.
She can't be good. She just cannot be good. I'm sorry. There's just no way that she's secretly good.
All right, chapter 4. Lindy initially blames Slappy for the beating, but Mr. Powell shuts that shit down immediately. Lindy apologizes, tosses Slappy to Chris, and begrudgingly teaches her the satanic art of ventriloquy. We cut to later that night as Chris has just woken up from a nightmare. She notices Slappy on a chair in their room and decides to get revenge on him by pushing him over. But as she turns to go back to bed, Slappy grabs her wrists. Slappy definitely grabs her wrist. There's no one else who shares a room or a house with her who would grab her wrist, so it's definitely Slappy. Chapter 5. It was Lindy.
How?
Seemingly
How
fully
is it
committed.
Lindy? How? Lindy is in bed. This is established. She is in bed.
She threw her body. She's a really skilled ventriloquist.
She fucking teleported behind, like, she jump scared Chris from the front is what like, you can't do that.
It was Barky in the bed all along. Lindy
Barky.
was never in
Barky.
bed.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh my god.
We hadn't considered that she had the aid of the duplicitous Barky.
They forgot to name their dog. That's what it is.
They left the dog's name as default, and it just autofilled to Barky.
And our dog.
Oh god. Chapter 5. It was Lindy, who has seemingly fully committed to 1, ventriloquism, and 2, making Chris's life a living nightmare, taunting her as they both head back to bed. Smash cut to Monday after chorus rehearsal, which had the kids singing untranslated, depressing Russian and Yugoslavian songs about sheep?
Are they still Yugoslavian songs at this point?
I don't think so.
There isn't a Yugoslavia right now. Right. 1993. Like, okay, there is the Republic of Yugoslavia, which is now known as Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Yep.
But come on. Come on now. There have been reprints of this book, and I would not be surprised if they changed this line, because there hasn't been anything called Yugoslavia for 27 years now.
Chris and Lindy come home to find their dad, who has forgotten how to cut an onion without crying, making him, as the audiobook puts it, hold on, I need to prep. Okay, give me a sec. A crybaby?
I can't take this, he wailed. He tossed the half-peeled onion back to his wife. Cry, baby, she muttered, shaking her head.
That's how the lady reading the audiobook puts it.
Can we now, Bob?
Yes.
Now, Bob, when you have cut an onion, let me actually rephrase that.
Maybe my next line in my summary will elucidate something.
Okay.
Also, FYI, you cut the onion underwater to avoid tearing up. I've cut maybe 10 onions in my life, and even I know this. Does that answer your question?
So no, this is not my point, actually.
Okay.
But it's a fair point. My question to you is, now, do you often cry when you peel an onion?
Oh, God! I thought he was cutting it shit!
No,
okay,
he's
no.
He's
I totally
peeling
missed that. I totally missed that shit.
They never mentioned cutting the onion. It's needless to assume that this meatloaf is going to have an entire onion in the heart of it, solid and intact.
And this means that her dad is just sobbing as he's peeling an onion.
Oh, no!
He had a rough day at work.
He's just sad.
I love the line from Mr. Powell where he just says, like, while peeling an onion, saying, "There's a trick to not crying when you do this. Wish I knew it."
No, there's not. Yeah, you just don't.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen. Maybe they were cutting on your other onions. I don't know. There were other cut onions in there.
I'm so fascinated with what R.L. Stine thinks you do to onions.
Never cut an onion in his life, Jovial Bob R.L. Stine. Anyway, enough about onions. There's another dummy sitting with Slappy. They're multiplying. That's the end of chapter 5.
Chris has an actual nervous breakdown in this scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is set up as a major cliffhanger, and the big jump scare is her dad got her a present that she asked for.
Yeah.
The most terrifying thing of all.
Oh, and in the audiobook, the person reading it does a perfect job of just being like absolutely like losing it over the idea that there's another dummy in the house, because she's already kind of freaking out about it. And then to cut to chapter 6 where it's just like, oh, is that a dummy for me? Oh, thank you, Dad. You're the best. It's just like, what the fuck?
How high strung is Chris? How like
she lives with Lindy 24 hours a day.
That's true.
Just absolutely on edge all the time.
It's just so fucking funny that, like, literally a chapter ago, she was like, hey, please give me a dummy, Dad. And then she goes upstairs and sees a dummy. Where could that have come from? And she's like, oh my God. What is happening?
What? Chapter 6, surprise! Mr. Powell, who is pretending to be crying because he was, I put cutting in here, it's peeling. So he was peeling onions, but we all know is actually crying because he's now raising not one, but two ventriloquists, has bought Chris a new cheap dummy at a pawn shop. Slappy and this new dummy seem to be related in that they look very similar, only different in hair and clothing. Slappy wears a gray suit, while this new dummy is more like a dapper carrot top. Chris decides to call the new dummy Mr. Wood, and her parents don't immediately reject the name, proving they are objectively terrible. Chris and Lindy immediately start arguing about who has worms, which causes Mrs. Powell to understandably lose her shit and scream at them to fuck off once more. The next day, Chris's friend Cody comes over to be assaulted by her terrible ventriloquy and awful jokes, his reaction to which is to leave almost instantly.
It's easy to say that Cody sucks as a test audience, but he was set up to fail. Like, there is no winning this situation.
It is, oh my God, her jokes are just, Jesus.
I do kind of love that she's like, when she tells the joke and she's just like, I mean, is that funny? Like, is that anything? Is there anything here for this?
Like, no attempt to build up a rapport, a rhythm. No, just like set up punchline. I solve my math. Is good?
Yeah, it's like she's never heard a joke. Like, she doesn't know what it is, and she's trying to figure out what a joke even is supposed to be.
Like, let's just take a look here. Her first joke out of the gate.
I remember it well.
How are you today? She asked him. Pretty good. Knock wood. That is not a joke. This.
You just roll through that, you know? You don't even... Just keep going, kid. Just keep going.
It's like, that's nothing.
It's literally... And you're looking for, this incredibly, like... How would you describe Cody? Like,
emotionless.
Yes.
Yeah, robotic.
Yeah,
devoid of all human emotion.
In my mind, Cody was played by David Cross.
Oh,
Mr. Show.
Yeah.
Like, every time he played a character that was just completely deadpan, had no reaction to anything.
See, I was thinking Ryan Gosling from Drive.
Okay.
Like, he maybe a little bit more menace, a little less menace. No, Cody is not this giant. Oh, that would be super funny if R.L. Stein had, like, inferred, like, a menacing aspect to Cody. Like, it would become, like, a fucking serial killer or some shit. But no. It's that's what I got. I thought that, he's just a guy who is just not really, like, Cody has shit. I was talking to Rachel about this. Cody, there's something going on at home with Cody.
In the chat, I've put two pictures of two puppets, Mortimer Snurd and Charlie McCarthy, who is about to get a shout out in a later chapter.
You're right.
Two of the most famous puppets of Edgar Bergen, the famed ventriloquist. And I think these are, like, the direct inspirations for Slappy and Mr. Wood.
I think you're right.
Absolutely.
I think that has to be so. The fact that one of them is a redhead and the other's in a suit is that surely. Yeah.
And, like, Chris's second joke really points to this. Were you standing in front of the mirror with your eyes closed? Well, I wanted to see what I look like when I'm asleep.
I think that's all right.
That is a very Mortimer Snurd punchline, because he is but a simple moron hayseed from the backcountry land.
Credit where it's due. I think that's an okay joke. I think that's okay. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's going to get you on Star Search, but I think it's pretty good. Like, for a 12-year-old who's been doing this for 20 minutes.
So I'm hoping, like, there are so many more sequels to this. I hope the next one has a themed set of puppets based on the work of Senor Wences. That'd be fun.
From what I remember, I do remember the cover. and I'm pretty sure it's a whole slew of dummies.
There is definitely one with a family of dummies, like multiple dummies involved.
Absolutely. All right, moving on. That night, Lindy talks about her upcoming job with Slappy, while Chris lies about Cody's reaction to her act. Chris also mentions a farewell party for a student teacher tomorrow, the outfit to which she's prepped and placed over her desk chair. The next morning, the kids awake to find that Mr. Wood is missing.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Mr. Wood clearly got up and ran around.
Quick reminder from the last chapter that Chris has a junk jewelry collection.
Yes, that is
Just
important.
putting it there that this is a thing that exists because R.L. Stine definitely put it there because he wanted you to remember it. There is no other place to talk about it.
Setup, pay off.
We are anxiously waiting the return of Mr. Wood, which is the second reason I think his first name is Elijah.
Also, the clothes that she's wearing for the party are her Betsy Johnson skirt. I don't know what that is.
Oh, she's a fashion designer from the 90s.
Oh, well, I'm so glad you're here to clarify this stuff. This is stuff I don't know. I just don't know this.
I didn't realize. I thought I was just invited because it's next. I didn't know I was a ringer.
Well, a surprise. The surprise, you're an expert on several subjects directly related to this book.
I fucking like puppets, God.
Now, see, I felt weird earlier, but now I feel even more weird because I'm purely joking when I'm making fun of ventriloquy. But now,
I'm not that into ventriloquy, except as a part of the path that leads us to fun puppets.
okay, all right.
Senior Wences is brilliant, though. Just come on.
I'd also like to toss out right now that we get one of Lindy's telling, not showing only, that she entertained a lot of people with her act. And
did we ever get confirmation that she got money? Did she ever,
yes. Well, she does tell us she did at one point, but she hasn't done that yet.
She never flashes her cash. She never buys anything.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my God. This book is nothing but gaslighting.
This is so important. Lindy's act. She mentions it. She says, some kids were over and I practiced my act for them. They laughed so hard, I thought they'd split a gut. When Slappy and I did our rap routine...
Yes. Oh,
Alice
I forgot that.
spit her chocolate milk out her nose. What a riot. Nope.
I need to hear that rap routine.
It can't be good. It cannot be good.
The only hint to what this rap routine could possibly include is, of course, the most popular rap songs of the day. The only hip-hop single to reach #1 on the Billboard chart in the year 1993 is Informer by Snow. So from that we can infer...
Oh my God. What would he...
Nothing in this world could be more cringe-inducing than a 12-year-old child and her ventriloquist dummy doing a rap routine. There just
in the year of womb, there it is.
There just can't be anything worse than this.
Like that sounds like an act you hire like for, youth sermon or something, or like that's going to be a Christian rap.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
I think you have a 90 to 95% chance of that rap starting out with, "My name is Lindy and I'm here to say..."
Yeah.
It's absolutely something you get on a VHS that you found at like a yard sale. And it's like an unlabeled black tape. You just...
Yeah, and if it's not a Christian rap, it's something extremely mild-mannered when you hire a girl to do her routine for like an old folks home.
Yep.
That's the other thing. That's the only other thing it can be.
Oh, now you got me thinking of extremely cringy auditorium experiences.
Woo!
Slappy's gonna tear a phone book in half, so you stay abstinent.
Also, Chris then lies about Cody thinking her act was funny, which is very sad.
Yes.
And even sadder when Lindy's like, "Oh, I didn't think that guy like ever laughed at things."
Yeah, it's like not only are you lying, but like your lie is incredibly transparent. Like, oh God. Chapter 7. Turns out Mr. Wood is stuck to a doorknob and wearing Chris's farewell party outfit. Chris admonishes Lindy. Lindy swears up and down that she didn't do it. Chris is gullible as fuck and begins to think Mr. Wood is alive next chapter.
And a crossdresser.
That's true.
So chapter 8, I didn't do a summary of, but let's do a real quick impromptu summary. I will go ahead and just say that this chapter is nothing.
Yeah.
Basically, Lindy is giving instructions to Chris on how to be an actual ventriloquist. Cody is there. They're having a great time. I believe that, yes, Alice is, I believe, Lindy's friend, and says, quote, "I think you're way weird," to both of them.
Also, everyone at school thinks they are weird as well. So that's...
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Also, Cody says, "You are a joke." Lindy, haha, "Remind me to laugh later." Do you guys remember when that was like the go-to diss?
This chapter has a lot of examples of like a technique that I found very interesting. The book is very, Jovial Bob is very, very careful to use phrases like "made Slappy say" or "said in Slappy's voice."
Yes.
So that when there's eventually a turn and the dolls start talking and those phrases drop away, there's a change, there's a shift, and it's palpable. It's good. It's good.
That's true.
It feeds into one of the reasons why I'm actually like the Night of the Living Dummy. It is pretty damn good, especially by Goosebumps standards.
By the first 6 Goosebumps standards, yes, it is pretty good.
Oh my god, shades of what was the Mummy one? Night of the Living Mummy.
Curse of the Mummies. Curse of the Mummies.
Curse of the Mummy. Yeah, I get the Night of the Living Dummy and Night of the Living Mummy. I got them swapped. Yeah, Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. Holy shit. Oh, Josh and Grant, I'm so glad you weren't here for that.
Curse of the Dummies Tomb would be a heck of a crossover.
Has he done that yet? He should do that. He should
absolutely do that. Oh, there should be mix-up versions. Oh, that'd be so cool.
Also, Cody gets an actual laugh in this chapter. So he does have joy in his heart.
So, basically this chapter ends with, I think, Chris is playing with Mr. Wood, and then suddenly Lindy grabs Mr. Wood and starts pretending or to mess around with him. Then suddenly Mr. Wood says, "You're a stupid jerk," and starts making fun of Chris. And when told to stop, I just forgot her name.
Lindy?
Lindy. I wanted to call her Lindsay. Lindy says, I can't make him stop, Chris. He's speaking for himself."
So,
chapter closed.
2 things I want to note here. One, and this is important because I think R.L. Stine is telling us something about Lindy.
Yes.
And it's that when Chris says that she needs to find better jokes and asks what joke books Lindy uses, Lindy says, "I make up my own jokes." Okay? Put that away. Put that in your pocket. Save that for later. I think that R.L. Stine will do a little bit of a reveal later, I think, personally. But also to Grant's point about the difference in like the dummy being alive versus the dummy being used by another person. When this is happening and Lindy's doing the "I can't make him stop, he's talking on his own" thing, notably, everything that Mr. Wood says sounds like something a kid would say. And in fact, I think Lindy has said it before. Like just saying, "You're a jerk. You're a stupid jerk." Like, you know, the insults are very much 12-year-old insults.
Yes.
In comparison to something...
This mirrors a technique in the opening act of Hamlet, where everything the ghost of old King Hamlet says has already been said by Horatio or the guards up on the wall. So there is an idea that Hamlet is already gone mad and is hallucinating the ghost of his father from the very beginning moments of the play.
So what we can gather here is that Chris has gone mad and is...
And that Jovial Bob is a modern day Shakespeare.
It's just of note when later events happen that might suggest that the dummy is not being controlled by a person, the insults are very different.
Yeah, and the difference to which we will discuss.
Yep.
So, take it away, Mario, with Chapter 9.
Oh, Chapter 9. Chapter 9. So Chris is still like the most gullible human being to have ever lived. She immediately decides that Mr. Wood is evil and ugly, okay? And that Lindy is completely telling the truth. Like that she just buys into this instantly. And Lindy is, to her credit, she's selling it, but her comment is, "I'm all mixed up."
We are past the perspective shift we mentioned earlier. Like
Yes.
as soon as Mr. Wood enters,
Yes.
like the narrative, we are just in Chris's head from here to the end.
Yep.
Yes, we are with Chris. So we with Chris must now assume the dummy is evil. She takes the dummy back from Lindy because Lindy has to go to her party. And Chris notes that Chris lowered Mr. Wood's eyes to her face. He grinned up at her, a devilish grin, his eyes staring intently into hers. The question I would ask at this point is, why do we keep this dummy?
Yeah.
And I'll ask that question several times in this book, because Chris fully believes this dummy is evil.
Man, after a certain point, you just commit.
I guess so.
You just can't go back. You just got to go with it.
It's that $20.
You got to ride it out. You got to ride that dummy out.
The $20 you could have, you know?
It's true.
Yeah, Chris is very stubborn and wants to do better.
Yeah.
And if you have to make a deal with the devil for that, well, that's showbiz.
I got to make a bigger deal with a more evil devil than my sister to really put her in her place.
Exactly.
I was just thinking about how this could have been like a devil went down to Georgia situation, but instead of playing a fiddle, you make a deal to be a good ventriloquist.
So we cut to Chris lounging on her porch with not a care in the world, apparently, having completely forgotten an hour ago when her world was collapsing in on itself. She accosts Barky for being present and nearly killing him with her feet.
Jesus.
Lindy arrives home triumphant, having done great at the party. She, again, did her rap routine. What a hit. Nope. It wasn't. It just wasn't. Bob, RL, it just wasn't. The kids all lined up to talk to Slappy, and Slappy says, everyone loved me. Chris inquires as to the payment. Lindy says she actually got paid $25 because she did so good they paid her extra.
Wow. Where is it? Show it to me.
You should fucking show me. So she also says that Miss Evans, a woman who always wears leopard skin pants, asked her to do a party at a girl named Anna's house next weekend and is going to pay her $30. Chris dejectedly says, wow, $30, which, I mean, if you're 12 in 1993, that's pretty good money. I mean, you'd be at $55 right now? Like, what?
That's like almost 2 Game Boy games, man.
That's
like,
crazy.
That's a lot.
Bruh.
That's crazy. And so Lindy's like, I have to go tell Mom. What have you been up to? What has she been up to, Lindy? When you left, a doll had come to life. So she said, Chris, putting it mildly, is like, well, I was pretty upset when you left. So she put Mr. Wood upstairs and then went to the mall. Which is, but
to spend all the money that she isn't earning
Yes.
because she's not playing gigs.
But here's the great news. While Chris is at the mall, Mrs. Berman, I should say, the music teacher, decided to have Chris and her dummy, which she's performed with never, host the school concert.
Well, they're twins. She thought she was booking Lindy. Everyone's talking about how
That's
great
a good
Lindy
point.
is.
That's a good point, actually. That's possible.
Can you imagine the racket that they could do if they were like both like moderately like good at this. Like you could totally have like Chris go off and just do like the press circuit, and then while Lindy could just like lay back and just like have a good time. And then when it came to doing the actual ventriloquily, like
the Mary Kate and Ashley vehicle writes itself.
It's true.
Exactly.
This is a recipe for hijinks, I would say, that I'd pay to see, starring Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen. You kidding me? If I were 12, hell yeah.
Elizabeth Olsen plays the dummy.
So we cut to dinner where their parents are like musing on the fact that it's very weird that they're into ventriloquism, and they honestly thought it wouldn't go anywhere.
This chapter has the line that I think the entire book hinges on.
Is it? I guess I have some talent. Like,
no, immediately after.
Is it the? Okay, you tell me what you think the book it is. Okay, all right.
Lindy beamed. Mrs. Powell normally wasn't big on compliments.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I agree. Yes. There is an unhealthy dynamic in this household. This is okay. So here is the part where I think take that. Hey, remember when I said the thing to remember? Pull that back out of your pocket, because Miss Lindy says, I found a book at school in the school library about ventriloquism. It had some pretty good tips in it. It even had a comedy routine to perform. She glanced at Chris, but I like making up my own jokes better. Fucking, I think this is a gotcha moment. I think this is a slip of the tongue from old Lindy, where she's revealed that her whole shtick is bullshit.
Oh my god. She's a liar.
I think she's I know she's a consummate liar. I know this to be a fact.
Oh yeah.
So after dinner, Lindy calls their dad, who is in Portland, and tells him how great everything is. And then Chris tells him about being the host of the concert, and their dad's like, well, I'll definitely be there for that. Great.
Yeah, they also watch a movie that Mom rented?
Yes, they do. I have a note here. Renting.
So I checked the hot VHS releases of May 1993.
Good of you to do that.
And so it's likely they were either watching Blade Runner or Glengarry Glen Ross. And so I thought about Mr. and Mrs. Powell. So I watched Glengarry Glen Ross and tried to imagine it through the eyes of a 12-year-old.
Incredible.
Number one, learned a lot of fun new words to try on the playground. That's, oh boy.
I bet.
And number two, I was mostly just very confused and wanted to eat popcorn and go to bed early. Not a lot for a 12-year-old in that film.
I think I think for a 12-year-old, a lot will be lost. But I don't know that more would be gained from Blade Runner.
Absolutely.
In 2 years, I'm gonna watch Grumpy Old Men and be like, wasn't that the guy in the really boring movie Mom wanted to watch with me?
So they go upstairs, okay. They go upstairs, and the dummies had previously been sat side by side in a chair. How picturesque. But they get there, and Lindy cries, "Oh no!" for what's happening? Why, Mr. Wood is sprawled on top of Slappy, strangling him. I don't know if this counts as a cliffhanger, because so dummies don't breathe. So there is no danger here. like Slappy is not going to
could have done this?
Die from this. So Chris is chapter 10. Anyone have anything else to add to that?
Nothing other than like I really like the idea that this is like a Toy Story situation where they're just coming to life, and then the moment someone like enters the room they're in, they just freeze.
Sure.
And stop.
It would be deeply frustrating if you were a murderous dummy trying to kill the other dummy, because of course he cannot die as he is not alive. So you'd just be strangling him endlessly forever. Chapter 10. Chris is incredulous. And so is Lindy. How can this be? They attempt to pull the two dummies apart, and it's as if they are separating two fighting boys. If both boys were unconscious, that would be the case, and made of wood, would be the case.
No muscles to speak of.
Yeah, with no muscles, and they weigh significantly less than an adult or a child. So that would be the key difference. So, okay, here's a part where R.L. Stine uses some words. If you haven't noticed it, I did. R.L. Stine uses a lot of words in this book that I don't think children know. He describes a cathedral ceiling in one chapter. Kids definitely don't know what that is. He also says here that Chris's face was pale and taut with fear. That is a big word for a 12-year-old.
It's actually a small word. It's 4 letters.
But it contains, it's a large portent. It's of great import.
I was listening to an R.L. Stine interview just earlier today, and he was talking about, like, there are published guides for how to write to a 4th grade level, a 6th grade level, etc. that he worked with. And I guess taught makes it through, or he didn't follow them too closely.
There are guides, and he said those guides are for lesser men than I. I know authors that use semicolons. They're all cowards.
I also love how it is like every time we do these episodes, it becomes more and more like solidified that Jovial Bob R.L. Stine is the Stephen King for children, like down to doing a like how on writing esque like on writing parenthetical for 5th grade children.
I think that by the end of this book, he becomes the Garth Marenghi of children's literature. Like,
I was thinking while reading this book, though, that, like, you know, it's not as bad as people usually are in Stephen King books. But this does feel like the children's version of a Stephen King book in that everyone kind of sucks.
Yeah. This is pretty aggressive with how bad they are, as we will come to see soon.
Yeah, like if this was written by Stephen King, like Lindy would absolutely be a greaser.
She would be. She'd also be racist.
Yes.
And their mom would definitely be an alcoholic.
100%, yes.
I think those are the only nominal differences you could draw between this and a Stephen King novel.
Well, we need some sort of religious zealot as well.
Yes, we do. The concert host would be a religious zealot.
I'm literally thinking the exact same thing, yes.
Lindy accuses Chris, or doesn't accuse her, just sort of begins questioning her if she's done this because of her jealousy of Slappy and her relationship. And then, so she denies this, and Chris hears her mutter, "Your dummy is evil," which is true based on what we know so far. And then an amazing sentence. Lindy says, "I'm kind of scared about this," which, yeah, that's how I feel about it. If I'm 12 years old reading this book, I'm kind of scared about this.
Kinda.
Kinda.
Am I scared? Sure.
I guess. So, speaking of Stephen King, the girls run to tell their mom what's going on. She's in bed reading a Stephen King novel. I checked what Stephen King novels you could be reading right now in this year of our Lord, 1993.
The amount of research in this episode is phenomenal. Like, truly incredible.
Released in 1982 would be Gerald's Game and Dolores Claiborne. Those were the novels released at this time. In 1993...
Or she could still be chipping her way through The Stand uncut and uncensored.
I mean,
it's
possible. I'm assuming that she is an avid reader and is getting the most recent ones under her belt. But it's true, she could have just started. She could be on Carrie for all I know. But if it's 1993 and we're assuming they don't know that it's a novel or not, Nightmares and Dreamscapes did just come out at this time. So she could be reading a short story collection. Chris, how dare you not know? So anyway, their mom utters a short cry as they appear, because why wouldn't you? Like this, duh. So she says, "Oh, you startled me. This is such a scary book, and I think I was just about to fall asleep. Those two things are somewhat contradictory." So the girls attempt to explain that Mr. Wood is doing strange things. Their mom rejects this completely and just blows up on them. Just
Get the fuck out of here, kids.
which, if it's 10 p.m. and I'm in bed, I get it, I understand. But her read of this situation is so weird because she's like, I'm so tired of your silly competitions. Both of them are here, and both of them agree that the dummy is bad. This is not a competition.
Just get rid of the dummy.
They're literally together. They agree on this. So her reaction is, if they can't shut the fuck up and go to bed, she'll take both the dummies away, which I would say is unfair. But we'll see soon that maybe it isn't. Also, her mom then just turns the light off, which is the ultimate that's it, we're done here. Good night. Mom wasn't too helpful, Lindy says. Yeah, no shit. Fucking duh. So they put Mr. Wood in the closet for the night, and Chris feels a chill of fear. I'm becoming afraid of a stupid ventriloquist dummy, she thought. Yup, and if you think about that even harder, Chris, you might figure out what's going on here today. So she sleeps fitfully, so this is thing that's been going on all book, where they keep having dreams, both of them, that some mysterious thing is chasing them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why Lindy's having it.
She really didn't like that squirrel before.
I guess so. When Chris awakes, drenched in sweat, she finds that Slappy is where he had been placed, but Mr. Wood is sleeping, or is not sleeping. Mr. Wood is sitting next to him, triumphantly grinning. I guess he got out of the closet, I guess. What?
And we should celebrate that.
We should. That's good for him. It is a victory. Chapter 11? We get a great comedy routine to start this chapter. Whew, it's not good.
God.
Yeah, so Chris's routine is still not good. Some jokes about school, some jokes about shop class.
Some jokes about building himself a wife?
Yeah, fucked up. Fucked up, actually. So Chris is rehearsing in the mirror because, one, Mr. Wood has been well behaved for 2 days. We're keeping this fucking dummy. Just get rid of it. God, Jesus. We talk about the way that you do ventriloquism. So she's watching her lips as she makes them talk, and she's talking about how the B's and the M's, the BMs, were impossible to pronounce without moving her lips, and that's true. You have to. That's really hard to do for ventriloquists. But she was getting better at switching between her voice and Mr. Wood's. She was getting faster at it, and she notes the faster he and I talk, the funnier it is. That is also true of anything. That's true of all comedy.
Then why are your episodes 3 hours long, huh? Answer me this. Tell me.
I never claimed they were funny.
It's just so many jokes, even when they're sped up.
I wouldn't claim they were funny. Suddenly, Lindy comes rushing into the room. And guess what? More great news that is maybe true. At Amy Marshall's birthday party, Miss Petrie loved her act so much, the rap part, I assume, that she wants Amy to go on talent search on Channel 3.
Congrats.
Which is cool. I guess.
You could be competing against some little child dressed like a cowboy who yodels or some shit like that. Every embarrassing child act you can find.
There must be just nothing good in this whole town for this to make it. Chris is slightly jealous. And then Lindsay goes off to tell Mom Chris is bitter about the fact that everything good happens to Lindy, and she's just hosting a stupid concert for maybe 100 parents. That's a fucking lot of parents.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of people
for a kid.
You've
How
also
populated are these kids' birthdays that your sister's doing?
You've
This
also
is huge.
never done this before. You're gonna perform in front of 100 people and have never done this. So she throws Mr. Wood over her head and slams him into the floor.
Powerbomb Mr. Wood.
She notes that his eyes seemed unforgiving, which is interesting. There's a lovely description of a pale, cold, moonlit night. That's very nice. Suddenly, Lindy awakes to a sound.
What could it be?
It's a gentle thud. What could it be? Someone's moving in the darkness. It's Chris, who is going downstairs because she would like a glass of water. Great. Suddenly, shortly thereafter, Lindy hears a scream of horror. So a weird jump back to Lindy's point of view for that scene. I don't know why we did that, particularly given what happens next in chapter 12. Lindy runs downstairs. She practically leaps downstairs. Her heart was pounding. I guess at no point has R.L. Stine lied. This isn't like a heavy rain thing. Because this is what I'm like, how do you do this from the perspective of the psychopath? And I guess at no point has she actually said that she's frightened in this internal monologue. So she comes to the kitchen. There is an eerie light. What could it be? It's the refrigerator. It's the refrigerator door.
Yep.
The fridge is open. It's empty. And then something cold and wet surrounds her foot. She gasped. It's milk. There's so many moments where it's like, oh no, it's nothing. So, the scene coming into focus was all so weird and so wrong. Basically, the whole fucking fridge has been emptied out and shit's everywhere on the floor. And also mixed in with the food is Chris's junk jewelry collection. As if, to quote R.L. Stine, it was some kind of bizarre salad. Yum, yum, is what I have written there. And in the middle of it, who should it be? Why, it's Mr. Wood.
Let him eat the chicken. Let him eat the chicken. He works so hard to get that chicken. Let him eat the chicken.
He is trying to eat the chicken, and I have written not the chicken, Mr. Wood. Is nothing sacred to you? There's nothing sacred.
Look at him at the Korean cover. He wants to eat the chicken.
So yeah, again, the Korean cover, an actual event in this book, although his face implies that he's alive in that, which he is not here. Chapter 13. It's so weird that we're in Lindy's head for this, right? It's weird to be in Lindy's headspace for this part of the story.
Agree.
So Lindy asks if Chris is okay. Chris is so confused because and thinks and immediately jumps to, did Mr. Wood do this? Which okay, I guess that's what we're doing. And then suddenly, the greatest horror, their mom enters the kitchen. Dum dum dum. Lindy and Chris both blame Mr. Wood. Their mom flips the fuck out reasonably and says, "This is just sick." Is it though? I mean,
that chicken is gonna get salmonella. You leave it out on the floor.
I mean, admittedly, it's not good. It's not good. Is it sick? So she says she's gonna take the book dummies away from them both because this whole thing has gotten out of control. I would say that is fair. That's a fair call. It has gotten out of control at this point.
Yes.
However, Lindy and Chris devise a plan. They to keep their dummies, I don't know why you'd want to keep them at this point, but to keep them, they will clean the entire kitchen as if this never happened. Mom makes a comment that, quote, all the vegetables are spoiled and the milk in this setting, and that's why it will be hard for them to fix this. The vegetables have spoiled?
Those are already bad.
That can't be... It can't have been more than 20 minutes. Vegetables don't just rot the moment they contact the air.
You have not seen their floors. You don't know. Don't know.
You do. True, you should wash those before you cook with them. Anyway,
I do like the idea that she has to point out to not somehow mop up the milk and get a funnel and put it back in the... Don't do that. Don't do that.
You can't listen. The milk is no longer good. I just need you to know this. The milk is bad. So they decide they'll use their allowance money to buy new food, which I would also note, hey, Lindy, you could use the massive bucks you've been raking in from your dummies to buy the food, but whatever. So basically they work all night in silence and repair the damage done by Mr. Wood. Chris thinks that Mr. Wood has been nothing but trouble, which is true. They keep repeating that Mr. Wood has been nothing but trouble several times. And then she thinks, I'm beginning to hate this dummy.
Get rid of it!
Yeah, just fucking get rid of the dummy!
Throw him in the fucking garbage! Return him!
You don't have to keep this dummy. Just get rid of it. So she she throws him in the closet, and suddenly she hears a voice cry out, let me out of here! Cliffhanger. Thoughts, feelings?
I will say that Mrs. Powell is pretty, like, we were giving her a lot of shit, but she's pretty lenient here, letting the kids keep the dummies if they clean up their mess. Like,
I mean, she's better than a Stephen King mom in this scenario, because I can tell you what would happen in that book. Like, nothing good. I mean, I agree. I think that the fact that she even let them keep the dummies at all, I would maybe argue is bad on her part.
yeah.
Like, just let it go. Just let it go. So, chapter 14. So the voice is coming from the closet. Chris is asking Lindy if she hears that. Lindy says, no, she can't hear it at all, and just wants to go to bed. Okay. Chris is absolutely freaking the fuck out right now. She is just freaking the fuck out. She's trembling all over and she's crying. It's kind of
fucked up. It's kind of sad.
I would say it is fucked up. I'd say this chapter is fucked up.
I would say that before it was funny to goof on Lindy and Chris's relationship and how Lindy was just like a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Now it's like, knowing what happens, like, Lindy is unforgivable, like, for real. Like,
yeah. I should actually note that doesn't actually happen in the next chapter. This is R.L. Stein's I need another chapter here.
No, yeah, definitely. I'm just saying, like, when we get there.
Yeah, I know. I just think it's funny because, so this chapter is 1 page long.
The patented 200-word chapter, yes.
This page is
100.
1 page long. Chris is freaking out, and Lindy just says, this is horrible, and I know who's doing it. and Chris says, who? Cliffhanger. Who could it be?
Is that the shortest chapter we've ever had?
I think it is. I think it is.
I'm pretty sure it is.
So, page break, chapter 15. Guess who's been doing it? Was it Mr. Wood the whole time? No. It was Lindy, who is a fucking psychopath.
She's
legitimate fucking nightmare, like psychopathic nightmare.
She's
Holy
so
shit.
proud of it. She's so proud of all of the mayhem she's wrought.
Yeah, no shit. Lily says she is proud in this chapter. The word pride is used here.
Yeah, it's when I read this chapter, I was thinking, okay, is the twist going to be that there is no living dummy and she just has a psychotic sister? Because I would have been fine with that twist because I like it.
Yeah, it would be weird if Lindy was just the villain of the whole book and we but yeah, so literally all of these things have been orchestrated by her sister, which is fucking insane to think about. This has been a weeks-long con.
Wrinkled all her fancy clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Destroyed all the food in the fridge. Nearly had her own dummy taken away from her.
And why? Why did she do all this? To fuck with Chris.
Yep, that's
no other reason.
That's it.
I don't think we've ever
that
had.
Chris got Mr. Wood.
Look at me. I'm the ventriloquist now. You're the dummy.
this is evil. This is an evil thing to do. This goes beyond like being a competitive sibling. This is an evil thing to do to someone.
Yeah. This chapter, while reading it, I was also imagining the whole like confession and reveal of this being done in the way that like the way everything gets laid out and explained near the end of a Saw movie where it plays that song with, you know, and it's the big twist or whatever. I was also imagining that.
It has like a Poirot reveal energy to it. And then Poirot enters the room. Oui, madame. It was you.
For fun, Lindy replied, dropping back onto the bed, still grinning.
She does the fucking Poirot evil voice. Like,
madness.
And I do it again, too.
I don't think we've ever had an antagonist in a Goosebumps book who has been this evil.
I agree.
And we've had, like, bioweapons.
A witch. We had an actual evil witch, and she's less evil than this. Like,
an evil cat witch. Hands down, Lindy, you win.
You win. You're the most evil Goosebumps villain. So, okay, that's the chapter, okay? Just think, so Chris ends by thinking, I've got to find a way to get her back for this, but how? Murder would be my suggestion. You could just kill her and maybe do the world a favor, because this child is evil. She's basically Michael Myers, like Donald Pleasance in Halloween, like, describing Michael Myers is describing Lindy in this book. Pure evil. So chapter 16. Chris has not been speaking to Lindy, just want to note that. not shocked, really.
Understandable.
Yeah.
So instead she's hanging out with Cody.
The boy with no imagination.
That's true. Well, to be fair, he does imagine a pool full of iced tea. So...
well, he's asked to imagine it and then says, no, I shall not. I shall not imagine this.
He is prompted to do it and semi-rejects the prompt. So Chris has still been practicing with Mr. Wood because she's got to put on the show. And they also notice that she has not told their mom about this because her mom is totally disgusted and they're no longer allowed to mention dummies to her or their dad.
What?
Like, Jesus. Like,
oh my God.
That's a very healthy home, I would say. So she goes to practice the dummy at home. It's the best day to practice because no one's there. That's sad. It's very sad. While practicing, a button comes unbuttoned on Mr. Wood's shirt. Inside of his pocket is something yellow. It's a piece of paper. It's not a receipt. It contains a single sentence. Chris says, "Did someone send you a love note, Mr. Wood?" Which sounds like what a sad ventriloquist would say in a ventriloquist horror movie. Like Magic starring Anthony Hopkins. Like, that seems like what he would say very sadly. So she does the thing that literally every person knows you should never ever do, which is read the mysterious slip of paper aloud. I'll just read it to you now. Karu Mari Odana Loma Malonu Karano.
Oh, shit. Something in here just came alive. Oh, God damn it.
You're welcome.
I should have mentioned I do have a ventriloquist dummy. I got it for research purposes, and it was sitting right next to me, and now it is gone.
My microphone's going to start beating me in the face or something.
I also thought here, this book came out after Child's Play, and I now begin to wonder how much of an influence Child's Play had on this book.
Some of the sequels take their names from Child's Play movies, which took their names from Frankenstein movies. So it's not necessarily one-to-one.
There is a little bit. There is a little bit in the later chapters that also reminds me of Child's Play. But we'll get to that. Anyway, Chris, now knowing, of course, that dummies can never be alive, thinks, whatever, no big deal, and goes back to practicing with the dummy. Cut to the evening. The Millers are here. They're some old people, and like all old people, will just become burdensome by entering the lives of their neighbors. So they just showed up in this house and said, "Perform for us."
Do a tight 5 for Grandma. Come on, let Grandma see your audition reel. Workshop with Grandma. She wrote for Jack Parr. Come on.
Show me your routine. So, sighing loudly, the girls agree to show the old neighbors their routine. So this is where the older neighbors ask, "Have you heard of Bergen and McCarthy?"
Called shot. Oh, slam dunk.
And I wrote, "Literally no one has," and I have been
Oh no!
been proven wrong. So
Grant,
Lindy,
how does it feel to be murdered?
I mean, at least I'll go down knowing that I have seen the wonderful comedy stylings of Edgar Bergen in many of his guest spots in the 70s variety show circuit. So it feels pretty okay.
I love that I was a kid watching Abbott and Costello, and you were watching Edgar Bergen. It's just like two completely different, diverging stories.
Lindy does her routine that goes off great. I'm sure she did her rap, and everyone loved it. I'm sure they loved it.
This is the only evidence we have of anybody seeing and liking this act.
Yeah.
True.
This is Schrodinger's rap. It's like it exists and doesn't exist simultaneously. I need it. Where is it? If I meet R.L. Stein in real life, I'm going to ask him, hey,
What was
Night of the
rap?
Living Dummy 1, what's the fucking rap? What's
Hey,
Lindy's
RL,
rap?
rap for me.
There is like a
It stands for Rap Legend Stein.
Oh, I was gonna say it stands for Rap Life. Anyway,
Shit.
Josh, what were you saying?
there is like a TV or movie adaptation of this. Is the rap in that?
There is, in fact, not an adaptation of this book.
Really? I thought there was.
It is totally okay to think that because there are adaptations of the next books for some reason, and we'll get to why.
I think I
Night
know
of the
why.
Living Dummy 1 is not adapted.
Yes.
Now, Slappy does appear in, as we said before, Slappy does become like, he replaces Curly as like the mascot. And so you'll see him popping up in like games, the latest game, and the, I believe both the Goosebumps movies starring Jack Black.
Yes, he's the central villain in both movies.
Okay.
Yeah, you're totally like, I totally understand thinking that.
Okay.
So basically, the Millers nearly die from laughter at how funny this performance is. And then we enter with Chris and Mr. Wood. So this routine is important to note here because, as I said, the mean comments being made by Mr. Wood when the kids had control of him were like, "You're a stupid jerk," whatever. In this case, Mrs. Miller said, "That's a nice-looking dummy." Mr. Wood declares in a harsh, raspy growl, "You're a nice-looking dummy, too." The everyone gasps. This is so horrible. He then looks at Mr. Miller and says, "Is that a mustache or are you eating a rat?" Which, don't laugh so hard, you might drop your false teeth. And how do you get your teeth that disgusting shade of yellow? Like, this is,
This is like insult comic.
Insult
shit.
comic,
Like,
yeah. She's an insult comic. In fact, the Millers say, "I don't get the humor," so they don't get Triumph, the insult comic dog, is what we're getting here.
Exactly.
So basically, they demand that Chris apologize, and Mr. Wood says, I'm sorry you're so ugly. I'm sorry you're so old and stupid, too."
Oh my god.
And then Chris flees in tears.
I gotta say, if I was Mr. Powell, I'd be fucking dying. I would be laughing so fucking hard.
Yeah. I just wrote here at the end of this chapter, "Canceled."
Oh, isn't that Jeff Dunham's new fucking, like, isn't it just
Oh,
like...
fuck, is it? Are you suggesting that Jeff Dunham's dummies have come alive?
Well, Jeff Dunham means canceled in the I didn't get enough ratings and I'm not renewed anymore because I'm a financial loss. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
True. Jeff Dunham's new tour is called, quote, "Still Not Canceled," unquote.
Yeah, because no one's watching. Like, it's not,
Yeah,
not
exactly.
hard.
It's like, actually, no, I think it is a verifiable fact that you have been canceled, just in the more technical sense of your shitty show.
I believe that concludes my portion of this book.
That does. All right, we're now entering the climactic final third. Do you think the dummy is alive now? Let's find out in chapter 17.
So, yeah, it starts off with Chris like freaking the hell out again, trying to convince Lindy that Mr. Wood was talking by himself. She was not doing that.
And Lindy doesn't buy it. You cannot kid a kidder. Like, she already cried wolf, and now you're just some sort of wolf copycat. It's not how this works.
Yeah, like I've already made this joke that the puppet's saying this and not me. Like, you can't. That's get your own material, kid.
So now it's concert night.
Oh,
you know
boy.
how school concerts always start with a comedy act?
Yeah.
But before you segue into 40 minutes of the Big Johns, both Williams and Philip Sousa.
Yeah, I never went to a school play or concert that was emceed.
No. Yeah. But yeah, it's Chris is in backstage, and she's extremely nervous because she's 12 and has to do this in front of at least 100 people, more than that. This is extremely stressful for a 12-year-old, and she's literally never done this before.
And she is approached by Mrs. Berman, whose voice she does not recognize. Lindy, so much of Chris is explained by like voice deafness, the hearing version of face blindness, I guess.
But yes, Miss Berman is, just encouraging Chris before she's out on stage and all that. And like the book goes on to describe what Miss Berman looks like.
Yup.
And I while we were going through previous chapters, I was just like looking around at different images from like different illustrations from some old books or something. I don't know if they were different covers or what, but I noticed there's two extremely similar illustrations of a scene that's going to happen very soon that includes Mrs. Berman, and they look like they're done by the same artist, but the difference is they made the appearance of Miss Berman more flattering in the updated one.
Because Mrs. Berman's description is not particularly flattering.
Yeah.
The only thing we know about her is that she is a large woman.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, this is some classic Jovial Bob material, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And I will point out that the Classics Goosebumps reprint had changed a lot of things, and this is one of the things that has been changed. Mrs. Berman, her description has been changed from she was a large, heavyset woman to she was a heavyset woman.
Okay.
Does the reprint mention the number of chins that she has?
Well, yes, it does. But the only thing that it changed was that it removed large from all
What the
that.
fuck? What does that change?
Yeah, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
That's not the bad part.
Exactly. I will also note that the reprint changes blonde with an E to blonde with no E.
Oh, thank God.
Trash dumpster to just dumpster.
Yes, I noticed that all the dumpsters were capitalized.
Yes, capital D dumpster. Capital D umpster. Bed table has been changed to bedside table. Prickly has been changed to prickling. And while we're on the topic, the biggest change in the international releases, in the French release, Slappy's name has been changed to Clack Clack.
Oh,
Clack.
okay.
Clack Clack does
Clack.
sound like a very fancy French clown.
Yeah, it does. You know what? That sounds so fucking French, doesn't it?
Yeah. Clack, clack, boom.
But doctor, I am Clack Clack.
So Mrs. Berman is very supportive, very encouraging to get Chris out on stage with Mr. Wood, who she's Chris is always thinking that she's seeing Mr. Wood blink, which is weird because the puppet doesn't have a blink mechanism. That's kind of fucked up.
A little bit.
So they get out there and she has like some last minute flutters and with just a little bit of last minute encouragement, Mr. Wood starts saying the most heinous, like fat shaming insult routine.
Oh God, it's so bad.
This is really mean.
Like, hey, you know the difference between just cruelty and comedy? A microphone, apparently.
And it has been emphasized that, like, I will just say, Miss Berman, a totally lovely woman, has been nothing but supportive, has been great.
She seems like a great teacher.
If we count your chins, will it tell us your age? Jesus Christ, Mr. Wood.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
like zip
Adds the
code
horror-
jokes.
Yeah.
And so Mrs. Berman is, understandably very upset and is trying to get Chris off the stage, and she's trying to apologize to the audience. And she tells Chris, please apologize to me and to the audience. And that's when Mr. Wood leans into the microphone and says, apologize for this. And then he opens up his mouth and just starts high pressure projectile vomiting all over Miss Berman and the people in the front rows.
Yes.
It is described like a fire.
Yeah, this shit is traveling far.
I love this.
A massive volume of nasty green fluid that is described as the smell of sour milk, of rotten eggs, of burning rubber, of decayed meat. So there's your ingredient list, folks. Go make your own at home.
Maybe he put a lot of the stuff from the fridge in himself.
I fucking love this scene. It's my favorite scene in any book we've read so far.
I was like, oh my God, this is terrible with the fat shaming shit. Cause Josh and Gray, you guys wouldn't know, but from earlier episodes, this is just a running thing.
It is,
with
sure.
Jovial Bob. He's just like, the fat kid. Let's make the fat kid like the source of let's just goof on him constantly.
Right.
Let's make the older lady. Oh yeah, he also has a thing about deaf people. We don't need to talk about it. Yeah, but it's just so bad. And up until this point, I'm just like, oh my God, this is the worst shit. And then he projectile vomits throughout the entire audience, and I'm like, fuck yeah!
It turns it right around.
Shit.
And I've also never been to a school concert with a splash soap. So they do it different in this town.
Yeah.
I will say that some of the kids are described as having the fucking time of their lives in this scene. They are just fucking on the ground. Yes.
I would be loving this.
Like, as a shitty kid, abso-fucking-lutely. Like, wowie, best faculty event ever.
I love how long it goes. It goes for a long time, the vomiting.
It's pages.
Like,
There are chapters shorter than the vomit scene.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm glad, because like people are described as like slipping on it and falling on their asses and shit and like stumbling and trying to get to her. Oh God.
This is like that scene in the Addams Family where they are doing Hamlet and they like start dismembering each other. And they can like spraying each like high pressure hoses of blood.
So, like, I don't know what it seems like that Chris has come up to say the most heinous, cruel shit anyone's ever heard a child say, and then do an amazing magic act. Like, where there's no visible hose. She carried this thing up out of nowhere.
Yeah. The sheer volume. So so like the stage lights are so bright, Chris can't really see what's happening in front of her in the audience, but she can just hear everyone screaming and like gagging and trying to escape. And she tries to stop the puke by putting her hand over the dummy's mouth, but it's so forceful, it's just squirting from out of between her fingers and around her hand.
So Mrs. Berman saves the day, shoves her backstage, and you will not be surprised to think she's going to move to have Chris expelled?
Suspended permanently, which is expulsion.
Yep.
And that brings us to chapter 18, where Chris is getting punished for her heinous, awful actions tonight.
I like how no one questions how this is possible. Like,
yeah, no one. It's just She really committed to the bit and brought in 13 gallons of vomit that she mixed up in several buckets on her own, hid it in her back via like the contraption to steal soda from a restaurant.
Just tubes hidden in her like fancy what's her name skirt running through a trap door beneath the risers.
She's got a little oxygen tank with her to pressurize it all.
So Mr. Powell wants that dang puppet under lock and key until it can go back to the pawn shop Monday.
Yes.
Not today. The weekend is sacrosanct.
Yeah. What's that? We don't have a lock or a key? You can just close the door? That's good enough. And it's like Chris is really trying to like plead to her parents to listen to her, and both of them just are so fed up with their daughter that they're just like, you know what? Don't talk to me. We'll talk tomorrow. This is so exhausting.
But Lindy at least seems vaguely open to the possibility of magic.
Yes.
Well, I didn't ruin my sister's life, so I don't know what else could do this.
Yeah. No one else has it out for her like I do.
Who could be more evil than me?
So Chris can't sleep because she's having flashbacks. She has puppet traumatic stress disorder. So she can't sleep. It's fucked up. And like, so she's just lying awake thinking about like everything that's happened. But then she hears a noise and she sees moving shadows. Something is leaving the closet, which, I mean, so brave. 1993. Oh my God. I can't even imagine. And so, and she rushes out to find what it is and pounces upon Mr. Wood in the stairway landing.
Dun dun dun.
So this is the first like incontrovertible like supernatural stuff.
Yeah.
Because Mr. Wood has a fight scene on the staircase with Chris.
Yes.
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 Now we are in chapter 19, and there's just a beat where she has caught Mr. Wood. He blinks and then he hisses.
Yeah.
He hisses and then starts attacking her, and also actually just straight up begins to talk. And I had a very hard time not hearing it as anything else but Jigsaw's voice the entire time.
So this is what I was reminded of with the Child's Play thing, because they talk about his voice being like a deep growl, like the angry snarl of a large dog. And in Child's Play, if you have not watched it recently, as I have, Brad Dourif's Chucky performance, like whenever Chucky is doing anything, he stops talking. Like he doesn't deliver quips in that. He just like begins screaming, like just like angrily snarling and screaming the whole time. It's like viscerally unpleasant. And that's all I could think of is what was like, oh, this is like when Chucky does the thing.
So they're fighting up and down the stairs. Chris is so bad at identifying sounds, she doesn't recognize her own breathing at one point.
Mm-hmm. So she has Mr. Wood like pinned down because he's just a fucking dummy.
Yep.
And she's trying to, like, she says out loud that she must be dreaming right now. You know, this can't be happening for real. And Mr. Wood just says, "I'm not a dream. I'm a nightmare."
He's so lame. He's the lamest fucking guy in the world.
Yeah.
So like they're actually like pinning each other and punching each other.
Yes.
And eventually Lindy wakes up and interrupts them and is still not entirely sure what she's saying. She still doesn't quite like, I could probably fake this, so you could probably fake this. I don't know.
There's a part where Mr. Wood just straight up socks Chris straight in the gut. He just like knocks the wood. He's a strong little dummy.
He's trying.
Like, I do love the moment where Lindy is like talking through her disbelief, and she says, she mentions the thing that happened at the concert tonight. Like, she's hedging her bets through the passive voice.
Yeah.
Like, so, we all agree something happened. We're all on the same page there.
So you know the Twitter trend going around, the quote tweet with the incident at your school, right? Now, so one time this girl's dummy just started puking everywhere.
So, like, eventually, Mr. Wood does move independently in front of Lindy, so we're all on the same page. They scream and shout for mom and dad. They're not coming. They don't want to hear shit about nonsense. No, fuck this. And while Chris has the dummy pinned beneath her foot, she shouts, "Look!" And then, in chapter 20, Mr. Powell does come to see this nonsense and says, "Look at what?" Which is a big, like, technique in this book in particular. So many of these chapters start with someone saying a line that changes the situation. There's a big one coming up, but this is a pretty solid one.
I also thought there's a lot of times in the fight where Chris and or Lindy will wrap their arms around Mr. Wood's waist, and literally every time I thought, and this is the part where they fucking pile drive this dummy, and this is the part where they try to suplex this dummy. I was waiting for one of them to start breaking out fucking wrestling moves with this dummy.
This is the part where they slow dance. So, of course, now that there is an adult observer, Mr. Wood plays dead. You are being outsmarted by a hunk of wood.
And yeah, it's the whole same routine again with their parents of just like, you know, is this supposed to be a joke? I don't get it. This is not funny.
Is this a book about generational gaps in humor, really, at the end of the day?
It's the children who are wrong.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Chris is so desperate to communicate that the fucking dummy is alive and it punched me in the stomach, that her dad, Mr. Powell, is, you know, after determining that, like, okay, it doesn't seem like this is a prank. Is my daughter mentally unwell?
Yes. The answer to that question is yes.
Both of them for different reasons.
Certainly now, yes, they definitely are. It's like for the rest of their lives, yes.
Yes, absolutely.
And even when both Chris and Lindy are saying the same thing and agreeing, like, hey, we're telling the truth. This dummy is fucking alive. Mr. Powell just says, I still don't get the joke. We're going to bed. And, you know, big help they are.
Yep.
So now Mr. Wood reveals his intent. His plan is to make these two children his slaves.
Problematic, I would say.
For what does he need them to do?
Unclear.
How will he control them? Like, this isn't going to stand up in court. Like, what do you mean?
Also, he is a dummy, and like this book, I think, does actually a pretty good job of like working around the fact that he is just a dummy. But the entire time you are like, I'm gonna make you my slaves. Okay, well, I'm gonna fucking drop kick you into the dumpster.
Yeah. What, you're going to pull one more prank to get me in trouble. Dad is going to burn you. The end.
Yeah, we're selling you on Monday, you piece of shit.
And after Mr. Wood says, hey, you two are going to be my slave, he exclaims, like, I'm alive again, alive! And, you know, but how are you alive? And he's just says, hey, man, you read the ancient words, you know, the ones the wizard wrote for me?
Y'all know the wizard?
The ones that were in my pocket?
The classic third act wizard maneuver.
Enter Greg the wizard.
This is not dissimilar from another third act witch we got earlier in the series.
I'd like to note here that in one of the most recent Goosebumps Slappy's Nightmare series, a prologue does reveal that Mr. Wood was an evil wizard that got put in the dummy.
Oh my god.
Wow. Wowie.
But all this mention of the magic wizard words does put an idea in Chris's head. You say the words, he comes alive. I say the words again, he dies. So she says the words. And then in chapter 21, he doesn't die because those are the life words, not the death words. You fool. You moron.
You rube. I made the prediction you'd have to read it backwards. I thought that was going to go with this, but ultimately, I guess, you know, screw me for trying to perceive the mind of R.L. Stein.
So while gloating that this tactic has no effect on him, Mr. Wood mentions the ancient sorcerer
Yeah.
How ancient? Like, you're not that old. An antique sorcerer, okay, but ancient?
A very ancient sorcerer who, at the end of his career, made this dummy. He was around until like the 1940s.
The sorcerer is ancient. The dummy is not. The recent event done by the ancient sorcerer.
Yeah.
Also, I'm just gonna throw this out there. What would happen if you said these words to, like, I don't know, my Evangelion toy? Like, would that come to life and start trying to kill me?
Well, decisive battle starts playing, and then you got to run.
Oh my god! If I said this to my 3DS while I was playing Pokemon, would Pokemon become real? Because
Pokemon
that would
real life.
literally
Pokemon are real.
at the time I was reading this would flip shit.
You say it while Pokemon Yellow is in there, and your Game Boy just follows around behind you.
Oh no!
Yeah. So after Mr. Wood says, "Those aren't the words to kill me," Chris, I just love this thing. This made me laugh out loud. Kill him? Yes, Chris thought frantically. She tossed down the yellow paper disgustedly. We have no choice. We have to kill him, Lindy.
I'll hold him. You pull his head off.
Yeah, he's gonna
Amazing.
tear his head off.
I fucking love this scene because that was my first thought was, well, let's rip this stupid fucking thing's head off, and they just do.
Well, they try.
yeah,
they
yeah,
sure
yeah.
try, but man, they don't make them like they used to. That head is not coming off no matter what
Yeah.
they try to
Fucking glued
do.
in there.
Dude, Josh, I was so excited when I read that line because it was like, what were you trying to do before? Were you trying to hold him still and wait for the cops to come? Like, what? Were you gonna put him in jail?
It's just so fucking wild to have a Goosebumps novel where where the kids are like, no, we have to fucking kill this dummy. we have to murder this dummy right now.
I would love to see that court arraignment. Like, okay, this dummy is alleging that these two children tried to kill him. He also claims they're his slaves. I don't know if that affects the case law here.
You're my slave too. Everybody's my slave. That's the voice for if you haven't heard the audiobook version, the voice for Mr. Wood is pretty fucking good.
Nice.
So Mr. Wood comes out with another tactic to get them all to calm down. This is when he first claims, of 4 times, he first claims, quote, I have powers.
I love it.
Will Mr. Wood ever describe the powers? No. Will he demonstrate the powers? No. Hell no, but he's got them.
That's
He's got powers in the same way that Lindy has $25.
I love that he sucks. I love that he just completely sucks. Like,
It's so funny that his empty threat is I have powers.
listen, if you kill me, I'll be fucking mad. You don't want to know what I'll do when that happens.
But his very present threat is the ability to bite Chris on the hand and scurry away as they grab scissors to saw his head off.
While screaming, violence, violence.
Violence! Oh man, I'm just imagining him like back crawling like a fucking Exorcist style, like across as he hisses and
yet again, I'm hearing the Chucky, like the Brad Dourif, just.
When I read this, I imagined it as like a very like wry joke. Violence. But in the audiobook, the lady's just hissing violence.
It's so funny.
Like he's just cheering for the concept of violence.
I have to go to my
so
job.
good.
Violence.
Violence. And so yeah, they're going to go grab those scissors. Everyone's been bit, I think, by the puppet.
So clock's ticking. They're going to turn into dummies at a certain point.
Oh, yep. Wear puppets.
Who could tell? His plans do come a bit clearer now. He's going to control them through threats of violence. He's going to harm all of their loved ones, and even Barky is not safe from this blackmail of pain.
Yo, this is fucked. This
part is pretty fucked, yeah.
The whole world is a hostage to the mastermind of
He
Mr.
has
Wood.
powers. He has powers.
We have to not put his head in a garbage disposal and turn it on because he
Listen.
has powers.
Don't you dare write idiot on my face in Sharpie because I have powers.
So they can't saw his head off with scissors because scissors aren't a saw. So they put him in a suitcase and put the suitcase in the closet. End of the chapter.
Now what? Chapter 22. We'll bury him.
It's the best. It's the best.
The book is now how do we kill this dummy? It's amazing.
It's so good.
Like in this moment, like the chapter was the build up, but just opening chapter 3 with we bury him. Chris is like full on final girl energy, right? Like she is here to win.
She's using all of the negative energy that she has towards Lindy to a constructive end to kill Mr. Wood.
So it's time for these two crazy kids to bond. And the way you bond with your sister is you dig a shallow grave at 3 a.m.
Yeah, they go over to the house next door that is under construction to bury him.
Because there's a big mound of dirt that's been moved in the construction process.
It's a setup payoff. It's a setup payoff.
There you go.
And Chris grabs a shovel. She grabs specifically a snow shovel and says, "This'll do." And no, it won't. It's for snow. You know how I know it's for snow? Because the name is Snow Shovel.
Well, I just watched Reanimator last night, and it could maybe decapitate him.
Mr. Wood continues to insist, quote, "I have powers." Name them. The more you say it, the more vague and limp a threat it is.
Just list any power you have. Just list one. That's not being a living dummy. That's not a power.
Biting!
How fucked up would it be if just like out of nowhere you like Kamehameha?
I would love. Please God, please R.L. Stein, in a future Not a Living Dummy book, let Slappy shoot lasers. Please.
So they put. So Mr. Wood's still in the suitcase. They put the suitcase in a big deep hole, despite the damp and the dark, and they get watched by a raccoon for a while. Does the raccoon matter? No.
No. No animal matters. The squirrel, raccoon don't matter.
So they clean themselves up just enough to like get away with it in the morning, and Lindy just passes out. She's out like a light, but Chris is wired and ready to kill again.
Yes. She is elated that she has done this. She feels great.
I would feel fucking great about this.
They're awoken bright and early by the sound of not one but two steamrollers. Seems excessive if you ask me. Working on the landscaping in the new house next door.
Yeah, so Chris wakes up first, and she goes downstairs, and very happy, got a pep in her step because she just killed an evil puppet. And morning, Mom. And Mrs. Powell turns around, angry expression on her face, saying, "I told you not to bring the puppets down here because there's Mr. Wood covered in dirt just on the table in the kitchen."
At least he's not covered in the chicken.
Yeah. And he winks at her. An evil wink.
That cheeky fuck.
Chapter 23. Everyone else comes down to breakfast. Lindy takes a while to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And Mr. Powell, hey, Mr. Powell, if you hate this dummy so much, why don't we go to the pawn shop today? He's already got other errands for the day. He's going to the garden store. Just go to the pawn shop.
How far away is this pawn shop? Where'd you get this?
What are the hours of this pawn shop?
Is the pawn shop owned by a wizard? Is the pawn shop, does it contain only items he's put other people in?
So, Chris, here's a great line. Chris kept her eyes trained on the dummy. What does he plan to do? She wondered. How can I stop him? She has been hardened in the flames of adversity.
It's
like
true.
the crucible of Mr. Wood has burned away the child, and now she is a keen avenger.
So as her parents are leaving, she tries one more time to say, "Hey, like the dummy's alive," and then she stops herself and just says, "Never mind," and lets her parents go because at this point it's proven her parents will not help her.
Just don't care.
So they leave, and Mr. Wood starts to strangle the dog.
Yes.
Yes.
God,
This is
I
fucked
was
up.
shocked by this.
This is fucked up.
This is what we were talking about earlier. I thought it would happen a little earlier, but yeah, no, this is the fucking Mr. Wood. In the audiobook, it is, it's even worse. I don't even know how she managed to do that. But Jesus Christ, this is rough.
Like, if I had read this as a child, depending on what age I was, I would have possibly been extremely upset by this next page or so. Because this puppet is choking the life out of this fucking little dog.
While shouting, "You will do as I say, or one by one, those you love will suffer."
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
So the kids pounce and try to pull him apart, and Chris just like pulls apart his grip because he's a tiny baby puppet with baby puppet arms.
But he has powers.
There's yet another full like fight scene that at one point the puppet is held in a full Nelson.
Yes.
Whereupon he warns you he has powers.
It's true.
And so they run outside to the steamrollers, but Barky ran there first because he's a dog and he likes to run around outside. He thinks they're playing with the puppet that tried to kill him.
Barky has not mattered for so long, and now suddenly he is like the character in the book. Like, his health is suddenly very important.
And we end on a cliffhanger where Barky's about to get run over by a steamroller.
Fuck.
Oh, God.
Now, before we move on to the final chapter, I have to ask, Chapter 24 includes the actual line, quote, "The dog must die now." Is that why we were invited? Is this planned?
I was wondering that too.
It actually wasn't,
It is.
but that's amazing. I can't.
Let's
I didn't
just
even
call it
think about that.
serendipity.
I can't believe we invited you for the one where the dog has to die.
In black and white, the exact quote.
The dog must die.
Call that a win.
So yes, chapter 25, final chapter. The girls drop Mr. Wood in order to dive after Barky and catch him, who is again just playing in the grass like, hell yeah, I am a dog. I love to play outside. This is great. I am smart enough to avoid the big noisy machine.
Meanwhile, they have to roll out of the path of the fucking steamroller that is still moving. This all happened very quickly because the operator is just like, oh my God, what the fuck?
And so Mr. Wood, now free, runs away, but he never knew there was a second steamroller because they gotta flatten this backyard in double time, I guess.
There's enough room for 2 steamrollers to maneuver around this yard?
This is a giant place. This property
Big,
is
I guess.
immense.
A lot of acreage, I guess.
Yeah.
And so Mr. Wood is crushed, releasing a green mushroom-shaped cloud that smells of rotten eggs and not the other smells of his vomit. It's actually much nicer if you think about it logically.
And when this happens, everyone stops to look at this green cloud dispersing into the air. Even Barky. Even he stops to follow the trail of the eerie green cloud.
And the second steamroll operator climbs down, certain he did a child murder.
That's fucked. That's so fucked.
My favorite quote from the audiobook is, oh man, I should really look up who the voice actress for the audiobook was.
She did another one. She's done another audiobook that we've listened to, but I don't remember which one.
Oh man, I thought it was a kid. His face faded from red to flower white.
That's so
He's
fucked
like,
up.
a kid, he cried. Oh yeah, and the reason why I was bringing that up is because the person doing the audiobook made this guy extreme, like, a kid. I ran over a kid. It's very New York. It's I love it.
I gotta be a diehard now or something. I don't know.
Oh, gabagool.
So they spend practically an entire page telling him that thing he saw running around is not a child. It is just a wooden dummy. Don't sweat it. The other driver that nearly killed 2 actual children, unmentioned. It does not even get out of the cab.
Yeah.
He's probably like on the clock. He's still going while this other worker is terrified that he may have just flattened a child to death.
You're sure it was a kid? One of them wooden kids, not like a blood kid, but not a meat kid, but like a wood kid.
A green gas kid?
Every single character in this book has to go to therapy after this.
Yep. Even Barky.
Even Barky.
And Cody.
I think Cody definitely needs therapy.
Yeah.
So, like, that's really the last event is talking this man down from a lifetime of grief. So the twins go home, they wash all the mud they were rolling around in off, and they're like, whew, let's never worry about that again. And then Slappy talks to them, sequel tease, wah.
Wah!
That's it. That's the end.
And at this moment, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I have questions. I have questions about how did the spell card in Mr. Wood bring Slappy to life?
I think maybe the second time she read it,
oh, maybe.
that's when Slappy woke up.
Maybe.
And Slappy was just like playing it cool, biding his time.
The thing for me is that Slappy says, "Hey, slave, is that other guy gone?" The dummy asked in a throaty growl. "I thought he'd never leave." So that makes me think that he was like lying in wait the entire book.
I also wonder that. The fact that he also uses the word slave, okay, made me think, is like Mr. Wood in Slappy now because of the slave thing.
Did the gas like float into... No, I think...
I have so many questions, and I fear they will not be answered.
I'm pretty sure canonically they are two different characters.
I think that's true.
Yes.
Which means that the dummies wanting to enslave humans is like
just
a
what they do.
universal thing.
That's just what they do, yeah.
It's like how, when you check out like Star Wars Extended Universe stuff, every member of a species is just like the one that was in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every doll that comes to life wants to enslave 12-year-old girls.
Yeah.
They're playing the hits when the only hit they have is you're gonna be my slave. It's like not creepy enough that the doll could like get a knife and kill you while you're sleeping.
No, well that's the thing, right? Because you can't have it be a murder doll in a children's book. So what's the threat the doll can pose? Enslavement,
and dog murder. Attempted dog murder.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like that would have been a really fucked up book. Like the dummy demanding shit, and if you don't acquiesce to the demands, the dog just like the dummy just like does fucked up shit to everybody in your house. Gets and like blames everything on you. Mario, though, I will say that actual honest to God death has been a threat in Goosebumps books before. So
you're right. In Monster Blood, that's true. They do threaten them with death in that, and in Welcome to Dead House,
and in why do I keep forgetting the Mummy one?
Curse of the Mummy. Oh, you're right. That's right. Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. They're gonna fucking murder them.
Yeah. Not only murder, but like
stab murder to death. Yeah.
Yeah. Like rough shit.
Yeah, I wonder why they went with that. I don't know. Dear R.L. Stein, why does Slappy the Dummy and all dummies have a slavery thing? ?
I think something that just kept jumping out at me that I found interesting and we didn't talk about is the reliance on joke books. If you want to be funny, you need joke books, and you need really good joke books.
Have you?
Especially since Jovial Bob Stein wrote a lot of joke books.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And this wouldn't be the first time that Jovial Bob's history would factor into some of his books, like in Monster Blood, how it references Indiana Jones and how R.L. Stein actually wrote a couple game books in the Indiana Jones universe.
Huh.
Oh, let's be very clear. I think this book is dripping with R.L. Stein history. I think that R.L. Stein definitely is a big fan of ventriloquism from when he was a kid. That's point one. I think the joke books are fully an R.L. Stein thing, either because he wrote them or because they were a thing when he was a kid. Like that you would have joke books. Like I think this is like a glimpse into the childhood of R.L. Stein more so than we've ever seen before.
Yeah, the humor that is universal, that crosses the generation gap, is very Buddy Hackett, you know?
Yeah.
But the whole idea of like this comic figure of, you know, the comedy act ventriloquist dummy being a source of horror and fusing those two genres is really rooted in like the EC Comics vault of horror style of stuff, which are the books that Jovial Bob loved as a jovial child.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was like literally one of the first horror movies ever was a dummy movie. And then the first anthology horror film, Dead of Night, is a dummy movie. Dummies, I mean, there's a long history of dummy horror that would definitely have been like well known to Jovial Bob growing up. Like, definitely.
Oh man, I'm just gonna read this whole thing. I'm on the trivia section of the Goosebumps wiki, and I'm just gonna read the 3 paragraphs that I'm like in shock. My mouth is agape.
Okay.
According to R.L. Stein's autobiography, he got the idea for the first 3 Night of the Living Dummy books from reading The Adventures of Pinocchio when he was young.
Okay.
Okay.
Second, according to the Goosebumps official collector's cap book, another inspiration for the Living Dummy books came from when Stein was a child and would use his ventriloquist dummy to scare his brother.
Is the chicken thing autobiographical?
Oh, it's autobiographical. It's serious. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Tell me about Brother Stein's jewelry collection. I must know.
I absolutely need to know. Third, and Mario, we could have guessed this. We totally could have guessed this. Yet another inspiration likely comes from the 1962 epised of The Twilight Zone. Entitled The Dummy, in which a ventriloquist dummy says that he believes that he's not only alive but evil. However, nobody believes him due to his alcoholism.
Yep.
Yeah. We left that part about Lindy out.
Yeah.
A little heavy.
I wasn't in joking about the mom being a wine mom. Maybe I wasn't so far off.
Maybe.
Anyway, the fact that Jovial Bob had a fucking ventriloquist dummy and he scared his brother with it is some of the fucking... Oh my god, add that to the lore. Add that to the Jovial Bob lore. Like, Jesus Christ. That's amazing.
Something else I learned in that interview I listened today. It's his appearance on Bullseye with Jesse Thorne, if you want to look it up. It just came out very, very recently.
Yeah, he was just on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I don't think there will be a good segue for, but it's a fact that I need on the record. Do you know his first job out of college?
No.
I do not.
He, or his first job when he moved to New York, maybe, which might have been right out of college, I forget. But one of his earliest jobs was working on a series of celebrity magazines. And the way this job worked was he would go in the morning, and the lady who owned/edited this suite of 6 or 8 magazines out of her house would say, okay, make up an interview with so-and-so. And he would completely fabricate 3 celebrity interviews a day to spread between these different titles.
Oh my god.
And all of the other writers with the same job would do the same.
Man, the past was wild, huh? Like,
You could just literally make up shit. Holy crap.
Yes.
Wow.
He mentioned Diana Ross was one of the people he just completely fabricated an interview with.
Wow. Wowee.
that's messed up.
Jovial Bob, that doesn't make me feel so jovial. That's pretty fucked up.
That's messed up.
He also had fun stories about working for Beverage Digest magazine as an assistant editor.
Jesus, he has had the weirdest career. Like,
Yeah, oh man, I need to listen to this interview. I'm familiar with like his, like middle life era and beyond, but like his early life stuff, I had no idea. Wow, that's crazy. Oh man. Alrighty. Mario.
Yeah.
I think it's time for your patented review. And
now
then we
this
can also,
one I have trademarked.
Yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
trademark. Submitted it to patent offices.
The government. Yeah.
Yep.
To Patton Oswalt, he takes care of that, yeah.
I sent it to Joe Biden, And I think he's going to get right on that probably between his rounds of Guilty Gear. I think he's going to get right on that.
He called it a big fucking deal. Yeah.
He said it was a big fucking deal. He wrote back to me. So the patented review. Okay, you may remember this or you don't. I barely do. There's 3 components. One is the scariness. Now, I would say that the majority of this book is not scary in any way whatsoever. However, the last third of it goes pretty hard, actually.
Yeah. A little bit.
Like really hard. Like way scarier and more wild than like most books in this series at this point. I'm going to give it an 8. I mean, it's like I'm gonna deduct 2 because Mr. Wood is saying I have powers is nothing, but the dog strangling is a lot. The barfing is a lot. I think okay. Relatability, aka the kids zone. I do not have a twin, and nor are they a psychopath. I don't think this is a very relatable book, if I'm going to be honest. I don't think kids like ventriloquist dummies at all. So I'm going to say this is I'm going to give it a 4 for relatability.
Agree. Yeah.
For kids, but for the R.L. Steinness of it, I don't think it's like a super... Well, it does have a lot of cliffhangers, and many of them are pointless and shitty. So actually, I think this is like a fucking 10 out of 10 for R.L. Steinness. This is like maximum Stein. This is the beautiful mind of R.L. Stein laid out on the page for you to read, I think. As close to like getting into the philosophy of R.L. Stein as you may ever get.
All right, Josh and Grant, what did you think of Night of the Living Dummy?
I really enjoyed it, actually. At first, because the first 2/3 of that book, it's not until the last third it really pops off. But once that did happen, I was like, I really like this.
Yeah.
Once you read the fucking sorcerer's words.
Yes. Yeah. And just, I was genuinely shocked at how hard it went for a children's horror book.
Yes.
I was just like, wow, if I had read this when I were like, I don't know, 7 or 8, I probably would have been fucking scared of this. I would have been afraid that my dog was going to get choked out by a small puppet. But
you can't trust Gonzo. You never know what that guy's thinking.
Yeah. Especially if you've got a pet chicken, Lord.
Well, then you know what he's thinking.
Jesus Christ. Hey, keep fucking that chicken.
Don't keep fucking that shit. Oh man, god damn it, Mario! You swiped it right out from under me.
But no, I thought it was a really fun read, and I would probably check out a couple more of these just for the curiosity of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't remember in my childhood days being that into the dummy books, but looking at them now and keeping an eye out for things like when the perspective shifts and how we talk about the puppets talking and the way that deniability is maintained. It's obvious that it is Lindy when it's Lindy because it's never controverted clearly. But if you are reading it as a kid, I could imagine being fooled. Because you're sitting in Chris's mind for so much of that. And it's good. It is effectively written and there is good technique in here.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is just a good Goosebumps book.
I think some of the most relatable kid stuff about it is stuff like trying to use a scissors as a saw and trying to use a snow shovel as a dirt shovel. Just kids, close enough.
Kids don't know how to dismember a body. That's very true.
Yeah, absolutely. Kids burying something that's trying to kill them in loose dirt.
If this is the new baseline of Goosebumps books, which I'd like to believe that it is, then I think the series is getting significantly better than it has. I think the first several books were kind of uneven. I think the last two have been yep, Okay, got it. Yes, I understand now what the whole thing is.
Yeah, honestly, it's from Welcome to Dead House to Stay Out of the Basement. The series kind of that's kind of it trying to find its footing. Monster Blood is it falling off of a fucking cliff.
Yep.
Say Cheese and Die, getting back up there. Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. Oh my God, with these fucking cliffs.
R.L. Stein shit farted that one out. Just
Ridiculous, terrible shit. And then now from Let's Get Invisible, which guys, Let's Get Invisible is like probably one of the I wasn't expecting shit, and that book was actually really fucking nice. It was good. It was weirdly great, consistently gripping. Unlike this one where it only gets like pops off at the very end, but it pops off in a major way. So I'm excited to see it. Like, yeah, this is. I'm hoping that we're hitting like I hope Jovial Bob's hitting like a groove here, and we'll continue seeing some good shit. So
Speaking of what's next,
yes,
the next book in the series is The Girl Who Cried Monster.
that it is.
I am fucking hyped for. I remember only the twist of this, and the twist is so fucking good. Ooh.
Oh, you actually remember?
That's a classic cover too.
It is a
cover
classic
so
cover.
good.
Oh yeah.
Well, who wants to describe it?
I'll do it. I'll take the case. It's purple. It's purple. This cover is purple. Is what this
Hell
is.
yeah.
This is like big spooky kids book cover, right? This is like you have the creepy adult man who is uneasily for the viewer eyeing some bugs that he is holding very close to his mouth, let us say, while a child looks on aghast at this man. And I love this. I love this cover so much. This for me is like the Goosebumps cover. You know what I mean? Like the one, it is very purple. That's great. 2, it has like this eerie green highlight to it. Looks great. 3, weird adult.
Yes. Weird adult holding a bowl of turtles
and bugs. And the tagline is, she's got the monster of all problems. I'm fucking stoked to read this book.
Shall we hazard a guess as to what this book is
I already
about?
know it, so I'll recuse myself from this.
Grant, what do you think?
Okay, all right. One of the great childhood fears is not being trusted, not being believed.
Yes.
Right? And that's kind of what this book revolves around. And the title would suggest me to believe that The Girl Who Cried Monster is about a girl who thinks her school accountant, judging from the look of this man.
Yeah, what does that have?
is some sort of like alien creature or lizard man, and is trying to like put together evidence, and no one believes her, and it turns out she's wrong because she is the monster all along. She's the monster in the world of normal people. Whoa, Twilight Zone, gotcha again.
What?
That's what I think the next book is about.
Crazy.
I'm mostly in agreement there. I don't know about the twist, but I do believe, yeah, she thinks someone in the faculty is some type of weird monster doing weird shit, and she cannot convince anybody. Cannot guess what the twist is, but that premise, yeah, spot on.
I wonder if the twist is they're all everyone's kind of along the same lines as Grant, but like they're in the core of the fucking planet or something, and it's just like.
Now so I will tell you, there is a twist like that in one of the Goosebumps books.
I know exactly which one.
You know the one. You almost.
I know the one. Oh man, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for that one, and the one that absolutely fucked me up as a kid. I legitimately was like terrified of this happening. Instilled a lifelong horror of time travel. Fucking Cuckoo Clock of Doom, baby.
I very, very, very vividly remember the ending of this book on the TV show.
I'm so excited. I'm
vividly
so excited.
remember it.
The only one that I think I really remember, other than some of the horror scenes in one or the other Say Cheese and Die, is the one that's famous for having no horror elements at all. If you recall that one, it's the one where they just learn to fly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just liked it. It was nice.
Yeah, it's like, I think that's called How I Learned to Fly. Yeah, number 52, How I Learned to Fly. Yep. And then the next one, Chicken Chicken.
I remember Chicken Chicken. That cover is excellent.
At a certain point, I just stopped reading. I think it was Egg Monsters from Mars, which sucks because I didn't get to see Say Cheese and Die again.
Oh, well, now you get the chance.
Exactly. Well, normally we would talk about the movie, the TV episode, but unfortunately there is none, as we talked about before. So before we go, I just wanted to say thank you very much for listening to us for a year now. I believe we started.
Oh my goodness.
A year ago.
Congrats.
Thank you very much. We're trying to get more of these out more consistently, but thank you very much. If you want to support us, it is patreon.com/youcan'tscareme. Visit our website, youcan'tscare.me, and YCSMpod.com on Twitter. We are YCSM Pod. And thank you very much, Josh and Grant, for joining us on this very special episode.
It was a pleasure and a privilege.
Thanks for having us. If you want to check out us doing a similar sort of media watch through, read it along with you, check out Bizarre Podcast Dogs Must Die.
Yes, do.
We are relaunching with our new series about to cover part 6, Stone Ocean, on November 28th, right?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yep. The final Monday in November, we are back. So that's very, very soon. If you start listening at the beginning, you'll almost catch up by then. And on the way, you'll have your good buddy Mario talking to you about part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable.
I do show up once.
Yes. You can also check out the Chip and Ironicus Let's Play channel. We've been doing that for about 14 years. Metal Gear Solid 5 is one people swear by. I like that one a lot too, along with Uncharted 4, some of the other more recent stuff that I really, really love. The Final Fantasy VII Remake series is pretty darn great too. Do we want to announce a thing?
Sure, yeah.
Oh god, it's exclusive. It's exclusive, world exclusive.
There is a world exclusive announcement. We won't, I promise, to refrain from posting this anywhere until at least a day after this goes live, because I want you to have this hot exclusive. Extra Life is returning.
Oh, baby!
Saturday, November 12th, the four of us, Josh, me, Voidburger, and my lovely, brave, non-gamer wife, Elena, are going to do a 12-hour Extra Life stream.
Hell yeah.
On Saturday, the 12th of November. So look for more information coming soon with like the exact time for various time zones, the lineup of games. We have a theme. I'm not going to describe the theme. I'm going to hint at it with by describing it as deconstructed Gex. So I'll let you think of what that could possibly mean.
Hell yeah.
Oh, fuck. That's
dope.
Awesome. Oh man, shit! I gotta catch that.
Yes,
absolutely. And then I need to talk to you guys about starting a My Hero Academia podcast. I'm kidding. The anime that's taken over my life. Anyway, So I think I can sum it up. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna call it. But I want to end on the new catchphrase for all of Goosebumps.
Whoa.
All right, everyone, say it with me. Ready? 3, 2, 1. I have powers.
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 I have
Hey,
powers.
I have powers.
Okay.
I have powers?